Welcome back to Above the Table, and today we have our first appearance of Mon. So Mon is one of our players in our main game, as any of you who watch our actual running campaigns know. She also does a lot of the headshot art and runs our Discord and does a lot of the social media stuff for us. So today we're going to be talking about a whole heap of random stuff with Mon's gaming journey, a bit about running social media and how important that is for a lot of do this kind of stuff, and we want to put it out there, and probably end up just talking a bit of nonsense.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Editing Seb here. Just letting you know, we don't really follow a structure like normal in this one. It's just me and Mon talking shit about D&D and social media and all the sort of world that we're a part of for a good couple of hours. So, I hope you enjoy.
To start, give us a little bit of a history of gaming.
History of D&D. Well, technically, my first game was a different sort of game. It wasn't technically D&D, but it was still a tabletop RPG sort of game. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. My first DM was Sky, as it should be. She grabbed me by the throat and said, "You must play."
I could see that happen.
Yeah, and so ever since then, she's been my main DM actually for everything. And then when I joined here, that was the first time I had a different DM, which was Cody. And so it was very, very interesting, especially that because they're cousins, but they still play completely different.
Yeah.
So my history of playing under Sky and her being my DM to coming into being under Cody and him being my DM, it was kind of like two completely different things.
Had you played with Cody before Tomes?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was my first time, Tomes and Tales. Cody, it was actually the first time I was introduced to Cody was when I was playing the Nerdettes game with Sky, and she was the DM, and we actually recorded for, I think it was just for Spotify. I don't think we posted to YouTube or anything like that. We just had a podcast on Spotify. And it was the first time I was introduced to him, was the first recording of it, which was, I think, the second or third session that we did, because we had the first sort of like arc, and then the second one is where we recorded it, because the first one was like the past, and then the second was the present. So very interesting. And yeah, when I first met him, then after that, I got a message of him asking if I wanted to be a part of this group. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, of course. Because at that point, I was just like, give me more D&D. I need more of it. And so, yeah, ever since then, this has been the main campaign and obviously a few side things here and there, but haven't done any of the first sort of the above the table, that's what we're doing now. The first tabletop RPG that I did, we don't really do that anymore. That was more of something that a few friends that we were a part of their group for.
What game was that?
It was called Norbane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about that a little bit when Sky was on here.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that anymore.
We don't. But yeah, that was the first one that I was roped into, was Norbane, and then from there it was D&D. So strongly prefer D&D.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think we've talked about it as well when Cody was on here about other game systems, and we all just recently played through Kids on Brooms, which was a lot of fun.
Kids on Brooms, though, was very good.
It was.
I enjoyed that a lot.
But still, D&D has something special.
Yes.
I think anyone out there that wants to bring someone new in, something like Kids on Brooms is a much easier system to just get in, because you can kind of just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. Whereas D&D, there are a lot more rules heavy. Yeah.
Kids on Brooms is very much more role play.
Yeah.
More just completely thinking out of your ass type game. It's very much a good starting point for people that want to get into tabletop shit. But D&D is also, especially when you've got that sort of that group that has that same mentality as you, where they have that equal both role play and the fighting aspect of it, because you got to love role play.
Finding that match. Yeah, I think we talked about in one of the episodes of this that we've just put up. I mean, Cody were talking about like some people are all combat, some are all roleplay. Our table is very roleplay heavy, and we all love it, and it really...
I love roleplay, but I don't like role-playing that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I like thinking about it and, like, having scenes and stuff that I'd like to incorporate, but then when it comes to that opportunity, it's gone.
It's tough, isn't it?
It is. It's so hard to get out what you want to get out, and then you see other people and the way that they do it, and you just kind of kick yourself. You're like, damn, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have done that. But at the same time, even doesn't matter how you do it, it's still fun
Yes.
to get it across, even if you might be nervous about it, or you might have, you know, just...
I think it's worked well, particularly, like, say, for Zeph as a character who is a bit held back and learning.
That's why I picked those characters.
Yeah. So if you are struggling, making a character someone who's a bit reserved and learning to come out of their shell allows you to do that
Yes.
in character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why with Zeph, being completely honest and completely transparent with them as a character, the reason I picked them as the way that they are emotionally and with their personality was because I knew that when we were going through this, we were going to be on camera, and I was going to be very shy on camera.
Yes.
So I picked a personality that would suit that. And then the more comfortable I got, it fit their lore as the more comfortable they got.
Exactly. Which is a great part of it. Like, I remember building that into the early parts of Hugel, that he didn't know how to become a part of a group again.
Yeah.
And he needed to learn, like, love the people around him. That was kind of part of my process in my mind of the arc I wanted to take, which worked for me of coming into a group of people I'd never met.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how comfortable I'm going to be at the table to start. Like,
yeah, it was very, very shocking to go from basically playing at home with a bunch of friends to playing with people that you don't know very well.
Yep. Keep talking. I'm just going to zoom you in a little bit.
Especially with, at that time, I believe I'd only known Cody for about 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
So I didn't know him for that long. I didn't know who you were until you showed up and it was first session, you know. So it was very much like the only people that I could hold on to was Bailey and Sky.
Yeah. Well, having one of your longtime closest friends and your brother at the table.
Yeah, it definitely helped. It definitely helped. But still, me being the person that I am, I was just like, please.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I think for me, getting into it was always a bit easier. Like, I'd never played as a player, but having run games as a DM, I learned how to be characters, and kind of I learned very quick as a DM that you've just got to not care about the worry. Like, otherwise it just doesn't work.
I think at that time as well.
You guys are all getting used to cameras pointed at you as well.
Yeah, which is something that high school me, 17, 18-year-old me would never dream or think of. They would rather say, no, fuck that. I'm going to go hide in a corner and play with the table that won't have cameras on them. And
it's a big thing. Like, I know at the start, like, it was a bit probably tough for you guys to get used to. Liam, who was Daria in our first little section, really wasn't a big fan of being on camera. Don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
But it can make trying to then let go and role play a whole nother level.
In front of several people, which is crazy to even think, because that's one thing that I took from being on camera and everything like that was, especially when we first started out, and how a lot of the time we were just like, oh, only got a few views here and there. It's like, imagine if you had 2 people standing right there watching you play D&D.
Yeah.
You know? And now with the amount of people that are in our community and joining us and everything like that, enjoying what we do while also wanting to be a part of it as well, is crazy to think. And now it's not something where I'm scared of the camera because, hi, you're a part of me now.
We love you.
We love you. You're our community, you know.
It's weird.
It's so cool to be a part of something where we can make someone else's day better, where we can put ourselves out there and be ourselves, because that's essentially what we do. There's no way in hell Cody or Sky are going to put on a different persona. They are.
No, you get the raw,
Yeah.
you get the swearing, the memes, the nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
We've had to cut a few things out of recent episodes. We're like, go on the internet.
No, and that's what makes it easier.
Yeah.
Is being able to be comfortable with those people.
I wouldn't want us to change who we are for it either.
God,
like,
no.
obviously there are certain things that might be said at a home game that we're not going to say on the internet, but that's more about, the understanding of that there is a community. It's not just the five at the table, and things will affect people in a different way.
Yeah.
Like me and Cody talked about it last week so it's probably going to come out after this one, but certain things with like the changing of the new D&D rules.
Yeah.
Like the changing of the term race to species. Personally, I'm like, but also I know I've never had to experience any of that. So there's a lot of people out there that has a whole other world of meaning to that I will never understand.
Yeah. When they changed that, a part of me was like, good on them for doing that. Because obviously I'm not a part of that community, but I have friends that are a part of that community.
Exactly.
And I understand where they come from with that. So I'm glad that they changed that, but I'm not glad of the other things that they changed.
No, I don't like that in that change now there's no half anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is that a choice because of the science? But whatever, that's a whole other rant.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing that I think would actually be cool if we got everyone here to have an opinion on that.
Yeah, or maybe on the next Tales, when we all sit around, we might talk about it a bit more. Like me and Cody did an episode last week, which probably going to come out before this. So if a lot of the way we've shot these get released in weird order based on what's kind of topical. So we did one sort of impromptu more about the changing of the rules and the like the bugs that we experienced last week with them playing the game, which it's happened to everyone, and D&D Beyond are doing a real good job at actually responding to it. Good on you guys. But we talked a lot more about a lot of these changes, and Cody has some strong words.
Oh, of course he does. It's not Cody without him. But yeah, it's I won't get too far into it, but it is interesting with how like the approach that they're going with this. It's very different to their past stuff. Yeah, but it is what it is. They're their own company. They're allowed to do what they want.
No, they're not. They're our. It's what we want.
Well, yeah, that's true. But there's so much that
like, we're going to keep playing 5th edition. I don't think we're going to take anything from the 2024 rules.
The only thing that we're taking is that taking potions is a bonus action, not an action.
We already play that, though, don't we?
But it's canon now.
Yeah,
it's
one of like the most common house rules.
Yeah,
ever.
And it should always be canon.
Also, just to say to Cody, I don't mind if you want to give me all the buffs that clerics get now as well. Like they double all their healing dice.
Or just, give me an extra buff where when I sneak, I actually turn invisible. I don't know.
We can come up
I'm
with
a changeling.
Speaking of your character, why did you make Zeph the way you made Zeph? We've talked about like the personality a bit, but what made you choose halfling rogue? Like what was it that drew you to that? Well,
changeling, I've always wanted a character that was a changeling. It was always something that I wanted to do when I was introduced into D&D. The reason for that is I just find them as a whole very interesting creatures. And then because I already knew what sort of race I wanted to go or species, I decided that I would snowball from there, and it just came idea after idea. And then I thought...
You started with changeling and it evolved from there.
It doesn't always happen that way.
No.
This one it did, but it doesn't always happen that way.
So for my C2 character, I've started with the class and species, and the entire character evolved from that. And that's never how I've made a character before. It's a very different way to come at it.
I always make characters by aesthetic first.
Me too.
Always by aesthetic. I will look on Pinterest and get a Pinterest board together and then basically go through it and pick out things that I don't like. And then from there, now that I have a visual, I create the character from that. But this time I knew I wanted to go changeling, and I knew I wanted them to be in the city because at that time I was very much into Arcane.
Oh, yep. No, this is starting
Yeah.
to make sense.
Yeah,
Oh,
it all makes
we've just lost the
sense.
minis.
But essentially, I wanted to create a character that could essentially live in the world of Arcane.
Zeph definitely fits our vibe.
Yes, exactly, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And then from there, I decided Rogue because I love Rogue. You can never pull me in Rogue away. We're combined. We're together, together forever. And then from there, the aesthetics, obviously, choosing a species, you get a category of what your character will look like. And from there, because obviously being a changeling, you can choose what you want your character to look like.
At any given time, you can shift that up.
Exactly. So you could, I could have easily just made them look completely different to how they would in their changeling form, but I wanted them to embrace that form because I had plans for down the line of figuring out who they are. And so essentially their changeling form is their blank slate. That's their canvas, and then from there it piled on. And so they had the ginger hair from their adoptive family because they, obviously brought them in when they were very young. And then they got the eyes of Zero, so the complete black eyes. Then they got the skin tone of Hugel to make them look more humanoid. But then they got the ears of Voyage, so the big...
I like me to update the art.
I'm getting to that. Eventually, I do have their true form mini, which is what I call it, like their true form. But I still want to have that be something that is kind of like closed off, something that they only show when...
So this isn't something we've seen in the game yet?
You guys would have seen snippets of it. You would have seen the hair and the eye color change.
Yep.
But I don't think you guys would have seen the skin or the ears.
Interesting.
So as characters, you would constantly still see the blank slate because of the amount of strangers that we are talking to and constantly seeing. Zeph is just like, that's not for them.
Yep.
It's not for them, But if, say they went back to the city and it was just the four of them
They've
in
created
Zero's
this
apartment.
version of themselves that they want to be.
Yep.
That's brilliant.
That's when they're, I guess, what would you call it? It's
True
kind
self,
of like,
or...
it's like their armor
Yes.
slips away and then their true self comes out.
Oh, I like that.
So, yeah, I really wanted someone that struggled with connection. Although still having an adoptive family. And so it just kind of went from there. Gosrick, he just happened. It just happened.
Hey, that seems to be the vibe.
Session 0, God, I wish we recorded them. Because immediately, as soon as Cody introduced Gosrick, I was like, smash.
Okay, so I think for campaign 2, we're going to at least record audio, minimum. We might not be able to always get cameras. Although, there's only 2 people.
One camera should be enough.
We should probably be able to do it.
Even if it was just... because in Session 0, we had the map out. So even if it was just for the map and then recorded the voicing, that would be great, I reckon.
I reckon we'll find a way.
Yeah, we're
still a ways off campaign 2.
Yeah.
At this point, we don't even know where we're going to be playing because I'm going to be leaving here in a few months. So
we're pre-planning. We're way into the future with that one.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Hell yeah!
It scares me to think of this campaign ending. To tell you the truth,
even
right now and again, I don't know if you guys are going to have seen this in the game yet, but we're at a point where Hugel's at a crossroads of whether he stays with the party or not. It's really deeply troubling for me because me as a person above the table wants to keep him. I love playing as Hugel, but when I'm like, this is a great, his arc has come.
You got to keep him.
He's going to stick around for a little while because he still has a job to do.
Yeah.
But it's kind of at the end of this next section of the story, will he stay with the party or go back? So I've already built a replacement character to possibly come in, even if it's just for a little while, and then Hugel might rejoin. But just story-wise, it's starting to make sense that he'd go home for a while.
Yeah, that's true. See,
sad.
I'm not that smart. I put all my eggs in one basket, and that basket was Zeph. And then now I've created a bridge between campaign 1 and campaign 2 that you will not find out about until campaign 2 comes out.
Ooh.
Where I need them to stick around.
Yeah.
So, and I need everyone else to stick around as well. But even though, with that being said, like, as long as they're still alive and healthy by around campaign 2 time, then it should be fine.
So here's a question. Do you have Zeph's whole past planned out, or have you put that in Cody's hands?
I put some of it in his hands because I, as a player, wanted to be surprised.
Yeah.
I think that in itself is very much something that I enjoy. Although I like to know about everyone else's shit, I don't like.
100%.
I like letting Cody or even my DM, if they come up with an idea and they want to do that because they think it'd be really good for my character, I will let them do it. Just because it's nice to know that someone is just as invested in your character as you are.
And Cody is.
He's invested in everyone's characters, and it's great. But he's given me some little hints that stuff's happening in the works, but he won't tell me what it is because I've told him not to say anything. But it's going to be good because then I'll be surprised.
Yes.
Me as a player at the table, you'll actually be able to see my personal surprise come out through my character.
It's fun to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I had that with Hugel, as we've had in some of the recent ones when we're talking about like the purple in his eyes and the anxiety building up.
Yeah.
I kind of gave Cody my concept of what's happening in Hugel's mind, but I'm like, it's up to you if you want this to just be sort of a build-up of his angst coming out in the form of his magic, or if you want there to be something deeper.
Yeah.
Like maybe his guilt and anxieties caused the demon to touch onto him or something. I'm like, it could anything. I'm like, you come up with something, Cody. It doesn't have to be anything, because as far as Hugo's concerned, he's just dark at the moment because he's feeling angst. But there could be something more. That's up to Cody as the DM if he decides to play into it that way.
The Wanderer's got 2 hands wrapped around 1 heart each.
No, like, you can stay the fuck away from me.
I mean, I'm with 0 on this one. Because Sky sent a message in the group chat about the Wanderer being everyone's dad, and Bailey said, "I will never call him my father."
Yeah. I'll never call him dad.
And then Sky was very upset that no one wanted the Wanderer to be anyone's dad. But lo and behold, I never agreed nor denied that I would call him dad.
Hey, again, in our last game, Hugo went up to heal and he saw the Wanderer's hands doing some good. That's shifted his, like, Hugo's nothing if not amenable to change with opinions on people. So
yeah,
we'll see.
See, I think for me it was just the thing that changed for me about the Wanderer. Like at first it was very much like stay away from my girl, but now when the Wanderer actually showed himself to everyone and
that changed things up a bit.
That changed it for me because it was very much like he's actually come out to talk to us about this, and then he wanted to tell Zeph about their past, and then I was just like, nah. Zeph doesn't want to know. Zeph does not care. They do not care one bit. Me as a player, a little bit, yes. But Zeph's character.
I'll let you know off camera because if it comes up in our game, I don't want to spoil an idea I gave Cody very early on for Changelings, like a lore thing that I'd built for my own world previously. I'm like, it fits into his dark world. I don't know if he took it or not. So I don't want to say it in case it comes up in our games, but I will give you off camera. I'll let you know after because I think it's one of the coolest, darkest shit I've come up with.
God. See, that's why I like Changelings as well, because with their whole history and stuff, you can go one of two ways, which I went the traditional D&D way, which is essentially they were dropped into this world, and that was that. Their parents don't know where they are, don't know who they are, we're just dropped here. And or there's the route where the parents come with the child, essentially. But
all right, fuck it, I'm going to say it on camera because you guys can steal it if you want. my concept for changelings in my world before was, you know, like the Simpsons do it best. The lizards that like eat the eggs of the birds and leave the eggs in their place to eventually eat the bird when they come. That's what changelings basically are in my universe when I'd built. So they come into the mortal world, steal the children, which they might, I don't know what they do with them, whether they use it for sacrifice or whatever,
and replace
and put their own child in their place to eventually have it raised by the other family. And at a certain age, they'll come back and claim the child back.
I wish I had that when I first built Zeph. Oh my God, because that would have made it so much darker, and that would have
Zeph's history hasn't come out yet. You can tweak shit.
Oh,
I've tweaked Hugel as I've gone. But that's how I built changelings into my original homebrew world, as this like dark thing. And the idea was to make like a one shot from that, where a town is starting to realise a lot of their kids aren't
their kids.
Aren't quite right.
Yeah.
And the players come in, the players can eventually find out that these people are coming in and stealing their children and replacing them with the changelings' children, because the changelings don't want to raise their own kids. Like, someone else can take care of that and we'll come back when they're grown up.
Yeah.
So they're like slipping in and out of the Fae and leaving.
See, that makes me understand Voyager's concept of hating the Fae.
Well, see, I really love working with the Fae. As you guys probably know, Feywild game, I'm building a module for right now. I'm building a second game in the Feywild for us to run. I love the idea of it being a dream and a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, it's both beautiful and terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, so there is horrific things that go in there. They've got a very different sense of morality.
It's kind of like the movie Annihilation. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah. Very much like Annihilation.
Like, it's pretty but scary.
Yeah. Like mutated shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I dig that. That's actually a really cool concept of changelings, because that was something as well, which I'm glad it didn't get to that point. But I was thinking about doing like opening up a role play thing between Zeph and Voyage. But I decided to scrap it because Zeph's not going to be that type of person with someone that they care about, but essentially was going to basically be along the lines of going up to Voyage and basically just going off at him like, there's no reason for you to be afraid of me. If you wanted to be afraid of me, I can show you how scary I am. I can change people that you love and I can destroy you through them. You know, like that sort of stuff. And because changelings can be anyone that they want to be, and they can use that to their advantage to hurt people. And essentially the whole concept was just to show Voyage that if Zeph really wanted to, that they could do that, but they won't because they give a shit.
Yeah.
So
do changelings basically just get unlimited disguise self?
Essentially, yeah. The only part of it really is you have to know what that person looks like from seeing them yourselves, and you have to know what they sound like as well. And you can't grow extra limbs or anything like that. Technically, Zeph shouldn't have been able to shrink down to Hugel's size because they have to stay a medium size and everything like that. But that was just for shits and gigs. Yeah. Everyone that plays D&D knows that that's not really canon.
The rule of cool
funny.
Is more important than most things.
It's funny.
Especially if it's not in a circumstance that is game breaking.
Yeah, as long as it's not me being like, I want to shrink down and go into this person.
Yeah, mechanical things.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's not how it works. So,
it was just a nice moment.
Yeah, it was just a cute little moment. And so things like that, like as long as you can stretch it a bit. But yeah, changelings essentially, like similar to what Cody did for when Zeph was trying to turn into Tess.
Yeah.
Zeph didn't know who Tess was.
There
they
was
didn't know what Tess looked like.
Back and forth going on and
tweaking. And so it was a lot of the sketching just to make sure that the sketch was right, get that correct was 0, and then all that sort of stuff. And so with the encounter between Zeph and Tess after they came out from the cleaners, that was the actual moment that Zeph finally got to see what Tess looks like in person. And so in future, they can freely change into Tess because now they know what Tess looks like.
Is that part of your reason of wanting to charge out?
Yes.
Oh, well played. Very nice.
Also because if I charged out a 0, Zeph already knows what 0 looks like and sounds like. The only downside, I can't do do an accent.
Oh, we're going to get you there.
I can do some accents, but I cannot do zero.
No, that's fair. Sky's very good at the voices. Sky and Cody.
Yeah.
Like, I can do a handful of voices, but a handful. Like, I have 4.5 voices I can do, kind of, you know.
That's the thing, which you guys would probably know because we're far into it now. We're into season 2 now. But essentially, we were supposed to go back to sing, and we were supposed to interrogate him with Zeph being Tess. And I actually practiced a Texas accent for Tess. I watched Ginny and Georgia, and I used a lot of the mum's accent from that as my inspiration because from what they essentially described Tess's voice to sound like was more of the very like throat but still somewhat on the higher pitch of a Texas accent. And so I used her as inspiration because she's got that sort of similar voice.
Great way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Irish accent for Hugel, or let's say the Potts Hollow accent.
Potts Hollow, yeah.
The very broken Irish. That's one that I've always just been able to fall into.
Yeah.
Trying to do any other voices, though, I need to pick someone and follow.
Yeah.
So Mac, for instance, is Arthur from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I was watching at the time, and I'm like, all right, it's going to hurt my throat, but I can do that.
Yeah.
And then my Campaign 2 character is going to be Tommy from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Because a little sneak peek, they're from the same tribe. So I want to kind of keep them in that same vein of how they, you know.
How they talk.
They're like 100 years apart, but similar vibe.
Yep.
So I'm going to have to rewatch Peakies, I think. Just
the only real, like, a proper accent I could probably do is, and, like, actually keep it, is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
But I always need...
Play like a kobold and be...
I always need to start with Ohana means family and family means that no one gets left behind or forgotten, and then I can run into it.
A catchphrase, like a phrase to get you into a voice is a super common thing. Like, I don't know if you've seen that Laura Bailey for Jester sings a song from Wicked.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the voice, like that's how she gets herself into it. I think Travis talked about like on the way to the driving in, she'll sing that song as Jester, and that clicks her brain. And you get it with a lot of people. Oh, me too.
It's so cute.
I love all the voices from that campaign.
Yeah.
Like, everything they do, they're professional.
They're voice actors as well. Ashley's in it. Mother. Ellie. Like, come on.
Have you watched, on the Ashley running the games, have you watched their sci-fi one that she runs? That's one of my favourite ones they do. I want to do a sci-fi thing like that where I build out the whole bulkhead.
If you want to do something like that, I actually have some ideas for you because I was...
We're going to have to get you running a game at one point.
That's where I was heading with that.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I was actually thinking because I started talking to Steve about it and I was like, I think I might actually really want to do this because I messaged the group chat first and then I think it was Sky that was just like, okay, future DM, and then it clicked and I was like, maybe I should.
It's
maybe
tough, but it's a lot of fun. Like,
yeah.
My first experience DMing was having never played the game. And I tried to find it the other week, I don't think I've got it down here, The Lost Mines of Fandelver, which is like a little 30-page level 1 to 5 adventure. And I still think it's the best thing if you want to start running a game. It's a great adventure. It has enough of a small situation, but a bigger world. And just a great tease into the idea of the world. You know, you get everything you want from Dungeons & Dragons. There's dungeons, there's dragons. There's a central little town you keep coming back to, so you can build that out as much as you want. And I just ran it with a whole heap of old Lord of the Rings minis. Yeah. Just to get people into it. And as people started getting more into it, I just expanded. And that's where all this started. Yeah. But I had never played at all before. Whereas coming from having played some games and understanding how other people run the game, I think it'd be very handy. It helps you understand it being a player because then you can go into being a DM and knowing what that side's going to be like. So you can incorporate things to help the players and everything like that as well. So I was definitely great way to practice voices too, because you might only need them for like 30 seconds and then you pack that voice out. I think if I do that and I practice a bunch of voices, it'd probably be an off-camera campaign.
Also because it'd be first time DMing as well. I don't want to embarrass the crap out of myself, DMing.
Well, the fun is we can record shit and scrap it.
Yeah, that's true.
So we can always put the cameras on, and if at the end you're like, look, I don't want this going like that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Because I think what would probably be the best when it comes to starting, like, not necessarily doing a campaign, but starting to be a DM is maybe just do a one-shot.
One-shots. Absolutely.
Just start with a one-shot and pick something where D&D, like, the whole thing itself.
You can go on, like,
one-shots.
DM's Guild and Drive Through RPG.
Do a Star Wars one.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's like a lot of people have made small things you can get, for $5 or $10, similar to what we're working on. Like my module that I'm working on right now will be something we'll put up on probably DM's Guild and Drive Through RPG.
Yeah.
So people at home that want to run a game but have never before will have everything they need to run that game.
Yeah.
That's all that, that's this story we're really like working on. Because you don't want to railroad your players, but we're working on a technique we're currently calling story beats.
Yeah.
So I'm giving, like, say, if a section kind of needs to move in this direction, here's 5 ways we can get it in that direction, depending on what the players are doing, that still makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Because when running a one-shot, this is the story. If a campaign's different, because you can go over here and go over here, but if you need this game to finish in 4 to 6 hours, they kind of need to follow this story.
Yeah, you need to have a clear line and a clear ending. So,
but that's where one-shots, in my experience, can turn into campaigns.
Yeah, because they always can if you want them to.
Yeah, if people have enough fun. Like one of the best ones I did was I ran a one-shot, which I talked about it probably in here before, pirate ship with the crew.
Yeah.
I knew we were playing over 2 weekends and had 2 of the same people playing, but not the others. So I was like, all right, well, we'll play it that, at the end of this day, you guys go back to the ship, and then when you go back the next day, the captain sends a different party to the island.
A different crew, yeah.
So like, all right, you guys stay back behind. We need you to do ABC, but take those guys instead.
Yeah.
That ended up becoming like 6 or 7 games because then after they finished that, we were like, well, let's go to another island. And some of the same people played, and we got some different people in. And it's like each time the captain could just choose a different landing party.
Yeah.
So it was a series of one-shots that were all connected to this one main ship that would evolve.
Yeah.
So anyone coming back could play their old players.
Yeah.
Someone could come back from episode 1 for episode 6. It could be a really Mod Podge mixed match, depending on who was available on any given time, without them missing huge swaths, because it wasn't one big campaign. It was this pirate ship that was just on the search for treasures and things that was just kind of going around different adventures. And
unlike what we do, if one of us missed it, it'd basically be no recording.
There'd be no game that week.
Yeah.
Or a one-shot, as some of our previous ones.
Essentially like this weekend, instead of playing, we do stuff like this instead. We record something else. Because if people aren't available for what we do and how dense the content is in our games, we need everyone there.
So we try as well now to work on one-shots. So like I was saying, I'm working on currently another one-shot. So next time, if there is a gap where 1 or 2 people can't play, the rest of us will come and we'll try and get some other guest players in and just run the one-shot, which will give you guys some side story. In our experience as well, the one-shots do really well on the channel. I think a lot of people out there look at our
massive campaign,
100 hours of campaign. It's like, oh, I don't know, especially because, the first 10 episodes we were really having teething, getting used to how we wanted it. Even then up to, I think, like I was just saying earlier, I've just started editing episode 19 and 20, and that's when we finally kind of have a really good camera, and we've finally upgraded our audio to these guys right here. Shout out to Newer. Great mics.
Oh, yeah. Just remember to take them off when you pee.
Yeah. But we're finally at a point now where it's really clean. I think like any one-shots we do going forward, we'll probably do pretty well because, it's a bite size. It's still 4 to 6 hours, but it's a dedicated thing that's easier to jump in on.
I am keen to get back into the Feywild, though.
Yes. Well, I've been building that up more and more. And I'll say it's Cody. And if anyone here sees this and we haven't done it yet, reach out, because I'm actually wanting to reach out to some other content creators to help come up with encounters. Because I eventually want to turn it into another book as well that will be a follow-on. So the last Feywild game is going to be our first module game.
And then you're going to have...
This is going to be a follow-on. So if people wanted to get both and not have their players return to the mortal realm after, or the...
they can continue on.
They can stay in the Fae and be thrown into this situation. So that's why we're going to be going from level 9 which is exactly where the players would have left off after the last game. So the first one will be 7 to 9. This will be 9 probably to 11.
Very exciting.
But it's tough because Cody has plans for the Fae that he doesn't want to give to me just yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to know some of it for this adventure. So we're sort of working on what he can give me to help us expand on the Fae that don't spoil the main campaign for me as a player.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the hardest things is, like, for Cody anyway, is to basically give you something and then not spoil the whole thing for you. Because there's been times where I'll get random messages from Cody and he'll, ask me about particular characters. Like recently, he actually asked me about Finnegan. And I was just like, what the fuck's happening with Finnegan?
Well, we're going to be doing more of the Undying League.
See, that left my brain until he sent that message. I completely forgot about it until he sent that. But he doesn't like giving away too much at all. Like, he'll just ask a simple question and then, what's that for? I ain't telling you.
Yeah. Well, I had the same. He's asking more about Mac, and I'm like, Mac was built as a big dumb idiot for a fun one-off.
Yeah.
It didn't have a plan. Now, though, it's evolved into a whole history of a new species we've created for the game, and we've really gone deep. Like, we've created this whole history of how they were and how his tribe, or we've got a name for it, which is based on like the Greek word for herd or something. Like, but how they evolved from being like a nomadic warrior people to being like a traveling thieving guild almost. Like this evolution over like 200 years of how they became from what they were to where they are. And now that's inspired me for my campaign 2 character. And it's interesting in that way.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see all of this stuff online and just see like what you guys do with it and all the information and stuff like that. Because obviously you've got 4 artists at the table as well. Cody, myself, my brother, and Sky. 4 of us all have the capability of helping like actually create it and doing the drawings and stuff for it. Don't put too much pressure on me though, otherwise I have a mental breakdown.
It's going to be a fun collaborative work.
Yeah.
So whatever we can put out is better than nothing. That's the thing. Like, even if some of the works we do create are rough and sketchy and average as fuck, let's be honest.
That's the thing too. They can just be sketches. They don't have to be colour. Yeah. They can look like they're from, like, especially if they're all different looking, they all look like they're from different journals, from travelers. And
for the Feywild stuff, I really want to lean into the collaborative idea, especially going out to the wider community. We're going to be asking, I've mentioned it once before or twice on different things, and we'll be asking again some more if anyone wants to collaborate and do some art for us. We have a $0 budget, but I can offer sponsorships on my main channel, which has almost 12,000 subscribers now, so it's actually got some value to people within our community. And we can do some more proper collaborations with anyone that wants to add stuff, because I would love the idea that different parts of our world have a very different vibe in the book even, because it really gives that idea, particularly with the Fae, nothing matches.
Yeah, everything's different.
I don't want all the artworks to look the same style. I want them to look like, where have all this come from?
Yeah. Well, that's very exciting.
And then the other stuff, we've talked about it once or twice before, but we want to do the player and DM's tour guides, basically. So the one that me and Mon are going to be working on together specifically will be plants, herbology, toxins, and potions.
Yeah.
So
we'll get those potions in there. We'll obviously have a little, we'll probably have a little thing for Petunia as well. And it'll be basically Petunia, Hugel, and Zeph. Yeah. And it will be their book.
Yes. So the idea will be 2 books that you can get from, again, DM's Guild or Drive-Thru RPG or directly through us, or if we end up doing Kickstarters, maybe we can get physical books. We don't know how far we'll be able to take it, but I like the idea of there being a book that you can give to your players if they find it. Like if your players want to make poisons, what we're calling toxins, because the poison thing is actually a D&D thing. So we've changed it to toxins. But imagine a book you could hand to your players if they go to a shop about potions and poisons and stuff that they can actually flick through and read. So it's very much in the world. It looks like it's been drawn by people and sketched of pictures like as they've adventured. But then the DM has another book that's a lot cleaner that gives the true rules.
Yeah.
So this plays into what we've talked about before of the unreliable narrator. Some of the stuff in the book might not quite be right. Some of it might have been scratched out or missing a page. So your players don't get to know all the information.
Kind of like the classified stuff where it's all barred out. And
Exactly. But the DM has a version that's the accurate thing.
Yeah.
So the players might think, oh, if we mix all this, it's going to work. But there'll also be clues through there, ideally, that maybe don't use this thing with this thing, but then on the next page they do it. And it's like, oh, that's an accident. But if you do it that way and not pay attention. But I love the idea of physical props.
Yeah.
I'm a plant dad. I love stuff. Even like a lot more of the witchy herbology stuff you're really a big fan of too.
A lot of the witchy stuff as well.
So we're going to try and play a lot of this into a little bit of what the real life, versions of these things can do, but then we're going to obviously add in magical plants and other varieties of things that give an extra bit of spice.
Yeah. I think the other thing that would be cool as well, especially now with where Zeph is in the campaign and what they're doing, it'd be really cool to have some physical stuff on the table as well. That'd be something that I'll bring because I have so many jars at home that I could fit so many things in.
We'll do a special when we get around to actually making this book because it's very early work in progress, this stuff at the moment. But yeah, we want to have a book on gathering herbs that players can pick up as they go, but then also books on how these things can actually be used.
Yeah. And I can use my physical spell books as reference to what herbs and stuff would go well for things. Always use spells. They work.
So I want to play our toxins in as a version of almost like spell scrolls for fighting classes and stuff. Yes. So you get one-off uses of this thing that'll give you a bit of a bonus if you manage to hit with it.
Yeah.
But just one-offs, and they aren't easy to make, but just to add that little bit of extra spice,
like liquid inspiration.
Exactly.
That'd be something that'd be nice, but it'd obviously probably be a lot more expensive to make.
Yep.
But it'd be something that'd be interesting to incorporate into your players. So if they, rolled really high to create it and then they just now have inspiration that they can hold there to re-roll for something.
Another example, because I've already been making notes on things that I want to do from it, is so I got really into long distance running a few years ago and I was reading a book and they talk about this thing from a South American tribe called Escayate.
Yeah.
It's like a natural Red Bull. Like it's just a high energy drink that these guys consume.
That's where I thought this was going.
Yeah. So I've literally made that in the thing. So like if you find the right ingredients to make that, that's something from real life. But in our game, I'm like, it can remove for like 2 hours 1 level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
So like for a temporary bit of time, you've got like, you can push that thing aside. So taking real life inspiration and being like, how can we apply this to mechanics in game?
Yeah.
But then I've also come up with some cool toxins recently. So one was the bleeding. So if you can get this into your opponent somehow in the day before, the next 24 hours, they get bleeding damage on any cutting or...
So it'd essentially just be, what is it
blood
called?
thinner.
Yeah, it'd essentially be a blood thinner, yeah.
So little things like that.
Actually, there's some spiders' venom that does that.
Exactly. So this is the thing. So if we can find the real things that do those, and then go, okay, how can these apply? Like, I really love that in video games when you can pick up plants and make things, and it gives you that little boost.
You can apply real life things to fantasy and make it.
And a lot of D&D, poison just gives the poisoned thing, which is one thing, sure, but I like the idea that different poisons can do different things.
Yeah.
And we really want to play into that, and we want to create like things you guys can use in your games to broaden different classes.
Yeah.
And I think me and Cody were talking about this toxin mixing would probably be a custom feat.
Yes.
For someone to be able to learn to do. It's not just anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not with a great amount of difficulty.
Yeah. It'd probably in my opinion anyway, it'd probably fall more under the Artificer Alchemy, because that's an actual class where they're made to like do that, like subclass. But it'd probably also be something that if your character's backstory fits in it, but you don't want to be an artificer, there's that option there.
That's where I think we were thinking of feat. So that's something you would have to take a certain level or could be granted to you by your DM at a certain point if you went through the proper stages to learn that thing.
Or you went to school for it, you know, that sort of thing. So
it's hard coming up with these things without breaking the game. So a lot of these that we talk about might be a bit wild and we will have to test them all.
Yeah.
But I'm keen. I'm hoping we can get some of this sort of roughed out so we can start incorporating maybe it into some of our characters in Campaign 2.
Yeah.
To test it live so you guys can see how it works and let us know if there's any changes. But also, I'll use this as a nice little transition. Jump into our Discord and we will talk to you guys about it. If you guys want to test any of this stuff or have any ideas, we're very active in there. Particularly, I'm not.
I'm always on Discord.
So, Mon runs our Discord.
Yes.
She is our, I don't know what you call it. Admin, that's the word. See, I don't use Discord.
I created the Discord for Cody because Cody's never really been on Discord as well. It was actually funny, but my Discord journey started because of Bailey. He wanted me to join it because he wanted me to play League of Legends. Did I play League of Legends? No, I didn't. But I joined it because he would always be on call with his online friends. And I thought that was interesting. I ended up becoming friends with a few of his. And then it kind of snowballed from there. When COVID hit, I was chronically online. Like I was always online. I joined a few different servers, one of them being the Pigeon Party, which I'm still in their server to this day. And from there, it just went wild. So with Discord, I very much use that as a tool of engagement and communicating with your fans, your just friends in general. Because I've made several Discord servers from scratch myself. I made a streaming one. I made an art community one. And there was another one that I made as well. I think that one was a gaming one. So completely different ones. My streaming one, I no longer use that anymore because I stopped streaming. That was when I actually had time on my hands.
That goes away quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so being someone who's been a part of Discord servers since probably 2020, 2019, and has learnt from other people who have made Discord servers and also being able to just mess around with it and create one on my own, I've learnt a lot of stuff, especially joining servers of big communities and big gaming communities. They have a lot of strict rules in them. Which is why I've put the rules in that I have in our server. Yes, it is still very small at this point in time, but those rules still need to be followed.
Yeah.
Mainly for the safety of just everyone in there and also so I don't get headaches trying to talk to people and tell them that, hey, what you're doing is actually not very nice.
We also are within a community in the tabletop space that has a huge range of people from jockey dickheads to people on the outer fringes of certain groups that have a lot more sensitivities and triggers. And that's one of the great things about this game is it can bring so many different people together. But we also need to be very careful that within our space... Fucking hate that. But yeah, within our space, we want everyone to feel welcome.
Yes.
And as we mentioned at the very start of this, some things that we won't always understand, but to certain people, they mean things. We need to make sure that we are at least aware of those things.
Yeah, that's why that was one of the main things that I learned a lot through joining a bunch of different Discord servers and stuff. Like, obviously, when I was younger, I was still quite new to all of it. And there were obviously things that I couldn't say or do. So at the time, I was like 19, 20. I was swearing. And then I joined a server where there's a bunch of 16-year-olds. you shouldn't really be doing that in front of children.
So I think they're swearing on ours because our channel is very vulgar.
Yeah, ours
so
is very much 18 plus. And I think I've also made the Discord specifically 18 plus. The reason for that is because I know our content. We swear.
We swear. There's violence, there's sex, there's drugs, there's all the stuff that, like, as adults we know exists in the world, but our world is dark and ridiculous and crude. And that's how we want to play. And we understand that not everyone wants that. That's where our channel's not for you. But obviously our community will reflect upon, like, our content and the community. If you're enjoying our stuff enough to come over to there, you know what. Yeah. You know, you at least can understand or deal with the C-bomb getting dropped, and
you'll get it, especially for our Australian audience as well. I think it's predominantly Australian still.
At the moment, I think we are predominantly Australian.
Yeah. So, you know, everyone here, they know what the culture is. They know that we usually swear every second or third word. You know, it's just how we were raised, you know. And that's why I wanted to keep it at that 18 plus as the minimum age, because I've had issues in the past being a part of other servers where, and you're still probably going to get it with this regardless, it always happens, but where people will join where it's, say, 16 plus and they're 14, 15 years old.
Can't change that, can you?
You can't stop it, not really, but there are telltale signs. There are signs where people aren't the age that they're saying that they are, and that's something that I learnt a lot. In a lot of the servers that I was a part of, I was a moderator for. So I was essentially the police on Discord servers. And one of the servers that I was in at the time, back in 2020, I think there are about, say, 150 to 200 people in that server. And a lot of the other people that were moderators, they were in the American time zone. I was the only one in the Australian time zone. So whenever I was awake at, like, in the afternoon sort of thing, that's when everyone else was asleep. Yeah. So from about...
Got a lot of work to do.
So from about 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. is when the Americans are essentially sleeping, unless they wake up early or stay up late. Yeah. And so you'd have this time frame where a majority of the people in the server are asleep. The admin of the server is asleep, and about 6 or 7 of the other mods were asleep. I was the only one awake, and so I was the only one there fighting. And I ended up making essentially, I don't want to call it like a name for myself, but it was somewhat of a reputation where I did not take bullshit. And so through that time, after a while of me catching people out, basically kicking them and everything like that, getting them out of the server, there was a while there, while I was still a part of that server, where people would start messing around where everyone else was on because they didn't want to get caught by me.
Well, honestly, I've already seen it. There's a few things that have come up just within hours that you guys have been very quick to go, nah, this isn't on. Personally, I just go, I wouldn't even have thought about that, but I understand why.
There's a lot of processes to it, and it's essentially you are a parent of all of these people. And so when you have a bunch of people in one space and you're saying that this is a safe space and you're trying to promote that, and then someone comes in and then starts destroying it, and you sit back and, oh, it's fine. I see that it's okay.
You can't let any cracks in the dam.
The amount of people that would say, no, you're promoting a safe space, I'm leaving. That's essentially why. It's not really to get more people in. It's to make the people that are there safe. And that's the whole point of Discord for me anyway. Like, I'm a part of a lot of gaming ones. And so with games and stuff, you've got to be mindful about what games you play. So, for example, if I were to go to a 16-plus-year-old server and play Cyberpunk and go into the stripper district, not very mindful.
No.
You know.
It's something like, even say if I go to my 7Make Stuff channel, what I've really sort of carved out a name for is the more family-friendly. And a lot of people talk about wanting to do stuff with their kids. So, like, sometimes I want to do really horror stuff. And I'm like, I feel like some of those now I'd have to give a heads up at the start. Hey guys, this is going to be a violent build.
Content warning.
So this one isn't for the kids.
Yeah.
I think particularly because a couple of my bigger videos, so like the Crystal Trees is one of my most popular continuous. So many people want to do that with their kids.
Yeah.
So then they come look at the rest of the channel and then they'll see the pretty things like, oh, these are cute. Do this for a doll's house or a fairy garden as well as the game space. But then if I want to go and do like a really dark thing with people hanging from trees and stuff, I'm going to have to give a heads up.
Yeah.
Like I know that now because like I've intentionally never sworn on my channel because I know from the very beginning I had people saying they were watching this with their kids and stuff like that.
I watch it with my big kid.
Yep. My 3-year-old niece.
My big Steve.
my 3-year-old niece watches these.
Yeah.
And like when I said, because she lives in Tasmania, I'm in Queensland, so I only see her maybe once a year. She still knows me because I'm the guy on the TV.
I had one of your posts on Instagram pop up when I was with my nephew Parker, and he was asking about it, and I said, "This is my friend Seb." And he goes, "You know that guy?" And I was like, "Yes, I know that guy." You know, and he was very interested in it because he plays Minecraft, and so creating. Kids are so creative, and that's all they want to do.
I love it when someone comments on my thing that they're making this and their kid or they're watching these when I post them with their family and kids. I'm like, I love that. Like, as much as I build this all for you D&D and wargaming nerds out there to have some cool shit on your table,
you do it for the kids.
that excites me more than anything.
Yeah.
There's those ones, and then the ones that are people like, I never thought I could do this. Now I'm going to try and make something. I'm like, worth it.
That's another thing too with Discord servers as well, is you can split up the community in the one server.
See, I'm going to have to talk to you a lot because I've just rebooted up the Seb Make Stuff one because I've finally started a Patreon over there, so anyone at any level of the Patreon gets access to that.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I just put it out there, but I kind of took it down because
you get a lot of
I wasn't using it, and when it was just open to anyone on YouTube, I was getting a lot of just spammy junk on there. There was probably like 4 people that are still on it now, and I'm not going to kick them because they're not patrons or whatever, because they've been around since the get-go. Yeah. There was a lot of spammy junk coming up that I kept having to try and cover. So now it is protected under the Patreon, which it's only $1 to join that, and you'll be on there forever, even if you're only on Patreon for a month. But there's just that little gap to stop.
Just stop. Yeah.
So only the close ones want. But so it's only just kicking off. If it starts to take off, I think I'm going to have to get some help.
Yeah.
I don't have a fucking clue.
I'm more than happy to help with that because what I did in one of the other servers that I helped one of my friends make for she wanted just a general Discord server. This is exposing myself a little bit, but she wrote fan fictions. And so that was where essentially my whole online shit came from, was just one fan fiction that spiraled from there. I'm still friends with her to this day. I still have her phone number and everything. But she wanted a hand with her Discord server, and she wanted to split it because she knew that there were people that read her fan fictions that probably shouldn't, because it is an 18 plus one, but were 16 to 17 years old that were still reading it. You can't do anything to stop it.
It's the internet.
And so she wanted to split it up and essentially have a 16 plus area and a 18 plus area. And the way to do it essentially is you get people to verify themselves. So say if you've got your email connected to your Discord, right? And through your email, you need to verify how old you are. And so from that email, it'll basically see if you're verified and you're of age. If you're not of age, it will not let you in the 18 plus area.
Okay. So there's lots of ways to...
There are ways to get around it, but there are also ways where people can still get through.
Obviously. It reminds me of that Futurama episode where they're in the internet.
Are you over 18?
Yes.
The only thing really that you can do is you just watch people closely, and you can just pull them aside, send them a DM and just be like, hey, I heard you say this, send them a screenshot of what they said. Are you really this age, or are you just, trying to get into the 18 plus area? The amount of people that I had to pull aside on her server, and ever since then, there's still been a lot of them that come through, but it's not really active anymore. But the whole process is essentially you're the police. You got to police these people, and you can't do anything to stop them either. Well, you can kick them and ban them from the server, but you can't stop people from coming in and doing that. You can try and verify as much as you
Mm-hmm.
like and try and but it'll still happen.
Well, and you need to be aware, like if any of you guys out there run channels or do anything, and we do, quite a few of the people that follow us are other podcasters and, you know, things like that. So you're in the same world.
Yeah.
You guys probably understand, like, it is very important to be able to communicate with the followers and the community. Like, anyone that really, like, if you're doing this properly, you're doing it for the community. That's why we're putting this online. We've said it before, we want to pull together a group of like-minded people. And if we can encourage or inspire or give you guys something fun, beautiful. But if it wasn't for the community, there's no point in doing this. So having a way to communicate with your community is very...
It's essentially just, you know, finding more friends that enjoy what you enjoy, being able to talk about that with those people, like especially with the gaming communities that I'm a part of. We all, especially this one particular one, we all play a variety of different games. If you don't enjoy that game, that's fine. There's several different things. They have different channels like Minecraft, Sims, Genshin, like all that sort of stuff. And you can just sit there and talk about it with the other people that also enjoy that content. And that's what I like about the community.
Now, speaking of games, I can't believe this hasn't come up yet. We have a Baldur's Gate bang over here. So both of us absolutely lost ourselves in that game.
Oh, yes.
So what's your favourite part of the game?
Firstly,
Who's your favourite part?
who's my favourite? I will be completely honest. I have not yet finished Act 3.
Wow.
I've gotten to Act 3, but I haven't finished it.
Big.
And I think the reason for it was very overwhelming for me, going from Act 1 to 2 and then 3, and it's just massive. I've gotten to the circus area, though.
Very early into the Act 3 then.
Very early, like just got into it. But I think I stopped because it was very overwhelming and I didn't want it to end either, even though I know I can keep playing.
You've got many more hours in that. Especially if you did you do a good playthrough?
I'd say neutral.
So how many in the party do you currently have?
Oh, I have everyone.
Yeah, you're fine then. Me and my roommate noticed the big difference. By the time we reached part 3, because he played Evil, he only had like 3 people in his party.
Yeah.
There were so few storylines left to go. And based on earlier choices, like I probably had like 40 hours extra in Act 3 that he didn't even have access to because of earlier choices in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I still have everyone for this one because I just wanted to get through, but I wanted to keep the people that I really enjoyed on my main party.
That's how I played.
But have everyone else in the camp ready to go.
Well, that's good though, because you can go back to camp, talk to them, and then it unlocks different storylines. So that's what I had. So I could play through everyone's stories without having to keep them in the party.
Yeah.
Other than certain moments where you might have to grab Gale or grab...
Halcyon.
Yeah, well, there's a few of them where they have... Will, that was it, yeah. Oh, Shadowheart never left my party.
Me neither. I love Shart. That's her nickname.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, hang on a second. Yeah, that makes sense.
Me and my friend Maddie, we're both... We love women. And we nickname her Shart because Shadowheart, Shart for short. She doesn't understand my obsession with Astarion, but she also probably wouldn't have understood my obsession with Twilight when it first came out.
So, there's a similar vibe there, isn't it?
Yeah, but Astarion's definitely better. Definitely better. But I'm kind of glad that I haven't finished Act 3 now that Patch 7's out, with all the evil endings and stuff like that.
I heard about that recently, because I'm probably due a replay soon, when I can find the time in my life.
Oh, mate, me too. I played some Genshin this morning and I thought, what's this? I can sit down.
There's a new survival game out, which is Return to Moria. So it's Dwarves in Moria. I want to play it so bad, but I'm like, between work, editing tomes, trying to get, like, I haven't put a Seb Make Stuff video out in a month, because just time.
Just the time.
Trying to do all this and spend time with my partner, and like I'm also trying to buy a house right now, so there's a lot of that nonsense and going to, my whole weekend disappeared into house inspections and things. So finding the time to sit and play a game at the moment just doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit harder for me, especially now trying to get back into the gaming, because I really want to play Baldur's Gate all the way through. I want to finish this one, but I'll have to re-download the mods that I had because now they're broken.
Yes.
So I might just go back to patch 6.9 and then play through with the mods that I have and then go from there. But I really want to finish it because obviously, yes, I've been spoiled on TikTok and everything like that. I see it everywhere. It's hard. And I will not look away if Astarion's on my screen.
There's a billion different ways everything can go.
Exactly.
All the stuff I've seen on TikTok, none of it was the way I played through any of those situations.
Yeah.
So while the environment might be there, the way that it played out or the options they got were so different to what I got.
It does influence your decisions sometimes, though.
Yes.
I have seen Ascended Astarion, and I was all for it when I first started playing. And now that I've seen Ascended Astarion, I'm kind of like, do I like this? Or is this not it, you know? So I'm kind of like, do I keep doing it, like doing the process that I've done? Because obviously every time Astarion didn't approve of something, reset. Start
You save scummer.
Yeah. Listen, there was like one time where he didn't approve of something and he really didn't approve of it. And I was like, start again.
Oh, I wish I'd done that because in the end I didn't get to romance anyone because I kept making bad choices.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. Guy and I were talking about it, and it was the first time that you sleep with Astarion, right? And we were talking about it, and Sky was really upset because she was like, I don't know, I'm doing everything I can do, and he will not have me. He won't have me. And I'm just like, I was just me.
I really loved it as well early on. A lot of people complaining about how hard it is to romance the women, but how the men kind of throw themselves at you. Mm-mm. But I also just think it's A, based on your choices.
Yeah.
But also, kind of like real life.
Yeah, you know
Dudes
what?
are easy.
False. The hardest one is Astarion, according to the entire...
Oh, he was throwing himself at me.
That's just because that's you, mate.
I know, I was clearly making choices.
I don't know what it is, but it must be the Scorpio shit that he's attracted to. I don't know, because it was the same with me. But
him,
then
Will, and Gale were just continuously coming on to me. I'm like, have I played something into it where they think I want the dudes? What choices have I made here?
I'm so sorry, Sky. I really do not like Gale.
Neither.
Something about him.
He gives you the ick, right?
Yeah, ick. I think it's because he's got the poems and shit. And then you've got Astarion who's just like, I'll step on you, and you're like, yeah, right.
Is Sky a Gale fan? I didn't get that one. Astarion, I understand. Shadowheart, I don't know how anyone doesn't.
Yeah.
Karlach, I'm like, look.
Karlach is so baby.
Yeah, I couldn't decide between, I'm like, do I have the crush or is it the best friend vibes? Like,
yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
It's Karlach, you probably haven't seen Haiku, but Karlach, I'll show you when we're off camera, but she gives me Bokuto from Haikyuu vibes. Very much himbo, but in female form, where you could see yourself falling in love with him, but he's your best friend at the same time.
That's 100% what I was with Karlach the whole time, and I'm like, don't know.
I love her, but unfortunately in this playthrough, she's staying in the bestie zone.
Yeah.
Shadowheart, I accidentally broke her heart because this first playthrough, I just wanted to romance Astarion.
Yeah.
That was my goal. I saw him and I was like, that's
There's like one moment in like Act 1 with Shadowheart that if you make that choice or not determines whether you can or can't later on.
Well, I must have made the right choice because then it was in Act 2 when you go into like the underground area and everything like that. I think it was after like her arc or something when you come out from underneath like this big mountain thingy.
Yep.
She's all like all over you and then like is, you know, saying how much she loves you and you're just like, either you go, yeah, bet, or you're just like, oh, whoa. I made the mistake of going, yeah, bet, turn to Astarion, turn back to Shadowheart, I'm breaking up with you, and turn back to Astarion again.
Apparently the only one where you can get multiple romances is if, I think it's Karlach or there's someone else that they're cool for, like, multiple partners.
Okay, so Karlach, does not like you being in a romantic relationship with Astarion as well as her.
So it's probably different combinations work.
Yeah,
or not.
I think it is different combinations because I think Halsin, he's the one that's okay with Astarion, you being in a relationship with him and Halsin.
I know Karlach and Housen are good with each other as
I think
well.
everyone's good with Halsin. I would be too. I'd be good with Halsin as well.
But we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Amazing game. But did you know that, again, I could be wrong here, as we often have to disclaimer, we're just talking out our arse. So this is from what I've heard off the internet. Wizards wanted them to make another 2 games.
Yes.
They handed back the rights to D&D. They won't be making another Baldur's Gate. So Larian Studios are going to be working on something original again. I'm honestly a bit excited for that because I didn't want them becoming a big AAA company because big AAA companies tend to ruin games.
Me personally, I'm glad that they said no more because I do not think you could beat Baldur's Gate 3.
No.
I did not know Baldur's Gate existed until Baldur's Gate 3 came out. And then, because Steve, he knew about Baldur's Gate before Baldur's Gate 3, and we were watching YouTube videos of the old games. Very much the same concept.
But nowhere near the same level.
Nowhere near the same level.
So Larian Studios did the Divinity Original Sin, and that's where they nailed that engine down. Like, my roommate's played through all those, and he's like, if you want more vibe, not quite as good, but it's that same thing.
Yeah.
They nailed that engine, and it brought Baldur's Gate to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm glad that they left Baldur's Gate as is and did the final patch and that's it because they added so much in that final patch. You have so many different endings now. I think the only thing that they didn't add that a lot of fans were very mad about was like that pirate looking dude. They wanted to romance him. His name starts with the G. I forget what he's called because I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Pirate looking dude.
He's one of the evil dudes.
Oh.
Yeah.
That has all the hand rings and...
Yeah.
He's your main villain.
The main big bad, yeah.
Well, you can side with him, actually.
I know. I won't do that. He looks ugly.
I can't remember his name.
There's so many mods out there that make him look attractive. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, no, if I do that, I will side with him.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll leave it as is until I decide to do my dirge run and be evil as hell. But yeah, nah.
Great game though.
Yeah.
It's been a long. I got it the first week it came out, and I put like 160 hours into it, and I haven't touched it again since. But
yeah,
I put a lot of my life into that game.
Yeah, I've played a lot. I don't even know how many hours I've put into it because I've completely forgotten. I haven't touched it in a while. It probably needs an update. But I used to play that a lot in the gaming Discord server that I'm a part of, and we'd all play it together. Like, all of us would be streaming and playing alongside each other. I'd
love to do that with our party, like get any of us at the table to play it through at one point. But
see, that's something that I really want to bring into the Discord server is do game streaming because I love
a little bit of
streaming.
like we do have our like Bailey will do the art streams, and you guys sometimes do some of those as well, and occasionally there'll be a game stream up in there. So you know, if you guys want to see our players in different circumstances, jump over to there and you can see more of that.
Yeah, because I actually at one point really wanted to create the whole party in Baldur's Gate, but I would have had to like scour the internet for all different mods to make it look very similar.
Or even just to get the same. So like at the I don't know if they've changed it now, but a lot of like Hugel subclasses weren't available.
Yeah. But it was mainly just for the aesthetics, really. Yeah. But I don't think I'd really want to download a bunch of mods and stuff because I try not to anymore after playing The Sims for God knows how many years. It will destroy your computer. So I try to avoid it now.
Oh, I recently did it I did a playthrough of Fallout 3 again. And I modded the shit out of it just to change the visuals up because there's so many subtle things that can just make a huge difference.
Yeah.
But it added up to size.
Yeah. I mod the shit out of Stardew Valley. I mod the shit out of Minecraft because there's no way I'm playing base game Minecraft.
All right, here's a little something. What do you think of the Minecraft movie trailer?
No.
It looks so bad, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, Jack Black. No.
I know.
No.
It's just like, oh.
You know what I saw this morning? Someone on TikTok posted an animated version of the trailer and it was 10 times fucking better.
It doesn't need to be live action.
It does not need to be live action. That's what they destroyed World of Warcraft with live action. They should. I actually had this conversation with Steve the other day as well, but they should take the route of League of Legends and Arcane and just do an animated.
Oh, well, I don't know how they didn't learn it from the Borderlands movie that just came out. It's been absolutely creamed as one of the worst things to be made.
I still haven't seen it because
I don't. I will when it comes out on streaming services or something. I'll probably watch it, but I'm not going to go pay for a ticket for that.
I'll watch it to judge it.
From what I've heard, it's going to be a hate watch.
Like, that's the whole thing as well. Borderlands, they have a niche style.
Brilliant art style.
They could have easily taken that and just animated something with it. They've done it before in the past. I think it was a like a YouTube series thing that they did. I don't think it was a movie. I don't know. It's like a fever dream for me now. But essentially that whole thing, immaculate.
Arcane is the perfect example.
Yeah.
It is stunning. As someone who hasn't even played the games, I'm obsessed.
Yeah. See, that's something that I always said to Bailey, because he's always tried to get me to play League of Legends, and I just said to him, I was like, no, I'm very much a third person, like right behind the character, not bird's eye view, or I'm first person, I am the character, you know?
I personally just hate Battle Royale games. I want a story if I'm going to play a game.
Yeah. I want texture in that game. So, but when the actual series came out, I was like, holy crap, the character stories are actually really cool.
Yes.
But unfortunately, in the game,
they're irrelevant.
Yeah. So that's why I play Genshin heavily. Like, Genshin's very much a game where when you're actually playing the game and like you're fighting and everything like that, there's not really much of the character backstory. But then you get story quests and it tells you the character story and everything like that. And it gives you everything in one game instead of like World of Warcraft and League of Legends. They're very similar games in that aspect of how they play. And then they have YouTube videos where they show the character stories. They give you the history separately. Like that. They give you the little movies and stuff.
I like playing the story though. Yeah. That's my thing. Like, a lot of MMOs have lost me in the past, and I've tried it all. Same with like just shooting games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be fun for a little bit if you're playing with your mates, but if I'm going to sit and play a game by myself, I want a story arc that I feel like I'm experiencing something I can't experience in real life. Like, story is the key.
Yep, Last of Us, Cyberpunk.
Yep.
You know, those sorts of games where it actually tells something and you can be that character because, you know, that's why I loved The Last of Us so much, because at the time when it came out, I was obsessed with apocalypse, sort of like zombies and all that sort of crap. Have you ever seen Warm Bodies?
Yes.
I was obsessed with it at the time. So when The Last of Us came out, I was very much excited. I played through the first game, I think about 5 or 6 times.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I was constantly playing it non-stop because I loved the characters. I loved the visuals. And then they edit it again like a couple of years later when the PS5 comes out, and now the graphics are even better. And you're just like, it's like coming home to games like that. It's like coming home.
Yeah. The remaster was when I'd play through it with my cousin when we were younger, but like mostly it was him playing. I'd play a bit, but like so I'd seen the whole game through. But then with the remaster, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get into this. And
yeah. It's a very good game. Oh, very good.
Yeah, give me story games.
Yeah.
Over any of those other things. But yeah, like Arcane brought me into that world. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's an idea in like really artistic filmmaking that a perfect film is something that you could pause any frame and it could be a poster.
Yes.
And I noticed that with Arcane when I'd pause it to go grab something to eat or drink or go to the bathroom. Every single shot, even in boring moments, was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there's one moment where they're like laying on the bed talking to each other, but for whatever reason they had them like laying upside down or whatever. I'm like, when I'm first watching, I'm like, weird choice, but it's something different. But then I realized when you pause at that point, at any point, it was this perfectly symmetrical, beautiful shot. And I'm like, hang on. And I started realizing later on, I'd pause it every now and again, just at random moments. Every single frame is beautiful. Every single frame could be a screensaver on your computer. Like,
they didn't miss a thing.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm really keen to see how well season 2 holds up.
I plan on rewatching season 1 just before season 2 comes out, so I can give myself a refresher. Because my favorite character out of the entire Arcane season 1 is Jinx.
Yeah.
And very surprising that it's Jinx, because she's crazy. But I have a record of Astarion as well, so it kind of fits, I guess. But no, I love her as a character because her dynamic and her personality is so raw for a character in a fantasy world. It's not the niche, princess that needs to be saving. She doesn't want to be saved.
No.
She wants to kill people.
It's the broken person that you kind of want to redeem.
Yeah, you want to redeem them, but you also want to stand by them and you want to let them do their thing. You want to let them blow up buildings.
Yeah, we like a bit of chaos. It's like the Joker. That's why we love the Joker.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them I do like, but
yeah, fair
depends
enough.
depends on who's acting.
Yeah. The original concept of the Joker, at least, it gets a bit broken.
The comic Joker.
We've been smashing this. I think we've been talking for like an hour and a half now. Anything else particularly you want to mention?
I think I'll touch base again on the whole social media side of things. We covered mainly most of the Discord stuff, which is good. Having the rules and everything like that there. You can make your own rules. You can have it set to what you want. But when it comes to the other sort of medias, the other sort of things that you'll be exposing your viewers to, so YouTube, essentially the big four, you've got YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Those are the main ones that I use bar YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big YouTuber, but I posted my art. Like I still do to this day, not so much on TikTok anymore just because I can't be bothered recording it. But on Twitter and Instagram, I still post my artwork. My main thing for that in regards to getting views and all that sort of stuff and just getting connection in your community and everything like that, the main thing that I learnt from what I did, because I did it for about 2 years, from like 2020 to 2022, I just was posting art constantly. Can't do that no more. I've got a job now. But the main thing that I realised is trends. You got to hop on the trends.
We talked about it's why the last video me and Cody shot will come out before some of the other ones that were shot earlier because it's a popular topic right now.
Yeah.
We've seen that with the Above the Tables. 2 of these Above the Tables have done really well.
Yeah.
Some of the others just don't. And the ones that don't still have just as many people clicking. They're just not being shown to as many people.
Yeah.
So trend jacking,
Yeah. So definitely when it comes to the trends, because at the time when I was posting art, what community I was a part of was the haiku community. Everyone was going crazy about it because the creator of haiku just posted the time skip. So when they were all older and when they were all in their new jobs and everything like that. So that was the fad. That was the thing that everyone was doing, was posting haiku art, because it became another thing again that everyone else was interested in. So if I did stuff like that now, I still probably would get a lot of likes and views and shares and all that sort of stuff because it is such a big community. But because it's not popping off as much anymore, not many people are going to be interacting with it because that's not what everyone else is posting. Where if I were to post stuff on Jujutsu Kaisen, that's when a lot of people would probably interact with it because that's what's currently the new fad.
So there's 2 aspects to that. If that's what you want, if you're just looking for growth, and particularly for like artists and things, I think a lot of it is getting seen because that can lead to work.
Yeah.
So that is important.
Yeah.
But then I also have it. I've seen it like my my Zelda map hitting almost 200,000 views because it came out like a couple of weeks after the new Zelda game.
Yeah.
Nothing else I've had has ever gotten near that viewership. Yeah. And
but
I know I could trend jack.
Yeah.
I could look at what's coming out and build things just for that. But on the other hand, I still want to build what I want to build. Yeah. The same with the art there. If a lot of you still work on things that you want to do, But if it is for those growth moments, it's sort of maybe a one for me, one for them
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because you treat it too much like I'm doing this for the views, you won't stick to it.
Yeah. And I can say that for a fact. I was very much that person where I was doing it for the views, because the first time that I posted a piece of art for the Haikyuu art, it was when my friend was writing her fan fiction for the Haikyuu characters. And when I posted my first one, that did great on Twitter. It did amazing on Twitter. It did amazing on Instagram, and it did great on TikTok as well. But when I started posting my boy Suna, who's my favorite character from that anime, people liked that more when I drew him more. And I wasn't mad about that, because I love drawing him. You know, like, that's something that I will always go back to, is drawing him. But then when I started branching out on other characters, I noticed that the views and all that sort of stuff started dropping. And so it became like an obsession for me. And it became something where it wasn't good. And at that time as well, it was during COVID. A lot of people during that time weren't doing very good mentally either. And so it was very taxing and very draining. And so all I was doing day in and day out was drawing. And I was like creating these things for people, not for myself. I was creating them for other people. And now with the art that I do, I'm burnt out like nothing, because I did so much work. Like, a lot of the art that I did massive detailed backgrounds. I don't do backgrounds anymore. Reason being, for that purpose.
There's something I've been trying to teach Cody about with where we put our effort into this channel. It's called the Pareto distribution. Most people know it as the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
So 80% of the results come from 20% of the work.
Yeah.
So you can focus on the other 80%, but that's not going to get you much results. So stuff like your backgrounds would be in that section. Whereas if you focus really on that main 20, which is usually the face piece or the character art themselves, that's where most of the results come from.
Yeah.
So when you've only got so much allotted time, it's focusing on that 20% that give the most results.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I've actually learnt recently as a concept for art that I've seen pop up a lot. And it has been like another, not massive trend, but just a small trend that artists do, where they'll draw a character and they'll have like this really bright blue background like the sky, and then they will basically shadow it to make it look like they're standing out in the sun. And the amount of impact that gives you as a viewer, and just visually it looks really nice, and the background's just one colour.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me, 4 years of doing this?
There's always little tricks.
You know, and so that's why with the art that I produce now, like, yes, a lot of it is for our show, but I do enjoy bringing people's characters to life. That's something that I really do enjoy doing. I will never do commissions, never, for anyone else. I don't do paid commissions. Reason for that is because up here, I personally believe that I'm not worth that much.
Unless you guys want to come in. If someone throws like $1,000 at her to do a character piece, I'm sure that...
If you throw like a car at me...
I've often said, like, I won't sell out until you hit the right number.
Yeah. Like, see, I don't know. When it comes to like money and stuff like that, that's why with the current prompts that I'm doing, like when I just did my VIA piece, I'm just trying to explore on expressions and improve myself that way. So then when campaign 2 comes around and all the artwork that we do for that, I've got that down pat already.
I'm really excited to see.
I plan on making them better and then re-releasing campaign 1 as well. So it's got that same vibe.
Yeah.
Because I really want to follow the same aesthetic that I did for my VIA piece, because the brushes that I used for that was just 2. 2 brushes for the whole thing. Very simple. It looked great and I was very happy with it. And that's what I'm trying to do again. So, but now with doing that and doing things that I enjoy and posting them, not getting as much push on that. But
there's a part to that though. Like, so there's another thing in marketing stuff where they talk about the 1,000 true fans versus the 10,000
Yeah.
You know, like, I would rather build up slowly and have everyone that watches and enjoys our stuff really enjoy our stuff than people that come in for one video because they like this trend but don't actually care about the rest.
Yes.
So while I had 200,000+ people watch my Zelda build, none of them went on to even watching my other Zelda build.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't interested in my channel. They were just like, oh, this one thing. It was a great little boost. It gave me enough to buy another camera. You know, like, it was one of those like, oh, cool, this helped me build up the channel a bit.
Yeah.
But those people aren't sticking around. Whereas I have a handful of people that will comment on every video and are a part of the community and comment with things they want to see and talk about that stuff, or will message me and send me a picture of their version of the build.
Yeah.
They're the people that I want. I want you guys. Like, same with our channel here. We could try and do some stuff at Trendjacks and maybe bring in a handful of extra subs. But unless you guys are going to actually watch and care about our stuff, you're not really...
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
No.
Yeah. So that's something that I learned after I took a big break from doing art and everything like that, because I got a job, so I got busy, so I didn't do it as much. And
it's going to be harder. You're talking about going back to study, and that's going to take more time if you do that.
I think that'll be a few more years until I do that. But
by then, if you guys want to build this channel up, so this is our full-time job, that'd be great.
Oh my God, that would be a blessing. I would not have to deal with customers ever again.
No, we've got our social media and artists. I think that's a good thing. Everyone in our team really has spots we could slot into to make it work.
We all have niches, but we also all overlap.
Yeah.
So we all have different ideas and perspectives that we can bring in as well. Like, I'm very much, when I look at the social media side, I'm very much someone that, particularly just for TikTok really, is because I see TikTok as just like a fun little app. I can doom scroll for hours.
Yeah.
But like, say if we just did, you know, like the candy thing that we did, it was a trend that we did. We all enjoyed it because we love eating candy, you know, and it's just something fun that we bring in, you know, instead of doing, like, say if we followed every single trend, that'd be a different story.
Yeah, when it starts feeling forced.
Yeah, which is something that I've definitely learnt now, because I'm no longer forcing myself to get art out there that other people want to see. I'm just posting the stuff that I'm doing. A lot of the time it has been just for this channel, and everyone is so confused because they were like, where the hell have you been? What do you mean you've been drawing for D&D, you know? And I've made a new friend from it as well, who I actually commissioned to do an art piece for my Campaign 2 character.
Oh, is this the one you were sharing a while ago?
Yeah, I think it was like a week or two ago that I said in the group chat. And so she's going to do a headshot for me for my Campaign 2 character, because I'm really struggling with the aesthetic side of it. And so I basically just sent her all the references and was just like, I need help. And she was like, bet, I'll help you with that. And I'm really excited to see how she creates my Campaign 2 character. And as like an artist commissioning another artist and stuff like that, some people see it as weird. I see it as like, if I can't do it, I'm going to pay someone else who can. You know, because I personally can't do a lot of the stuff other artists can do, but maybe some of the other artists can't do what I can do.
Yeah.
Like sit on my ass and look at my iPad and be like, I want to draw, but not draw, you know?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to get into digital art again for a while, but finding the time for anything.
Yeah.
You guys probably know, like, in this world, we have a billion hobbies and things we want to do, but
and we can't.
Trying to make stuff, make videos for that channel, make stuff for this channel, make these extra videos for this channel, do all the shorts, work on the book.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where it's like, oh, there's not enough hours in the day.
No. Especially when you work a full-time job and you have hobbies outside of it, and you unfortunately have family that you have to see. You know, it does get taxing, but at the same time, if you enjoy it, it doesn't really feel too
That's why you got to
like
stick to the things you enjoy.
Yeah.
Every now and again, if you want to jump on a trend to pull some numbers up, by all means, like, but don't, like, that shouldn't be your...
Don't focus on it.
Yeah, especially in art.
You'll mentally drain yourself out more doing stuff that other people will enjoy. than you would if you were to produce things that you enjoy.
I get it with the Seb Make stuff. I could make a whole heap of Warhammer content and my numbers would go through the roof. But I don't play Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I don't have any friends that play Warhammer, so there's no reason for me to get into Warhammer other than the views that it would bring in. That's not the point.
Yeah.
So I don't want to start doing that because then I'd get to a point where I don't enjoy doing these builds.
Yeah. And then when you don't enjoy it, you end up taking a massive break. You see it a lot on big YouTubers. Like, for example, I think Jacksepticeye talked about it a couple of months ago where he took a big break from YouTube because he was posting a lot of videos that he didn't quite enjoy, but he was doing it because everyone expected him to.
Yeah.
When a new game came out, everyone was asking him, are you going to post this video about this game? And so he would feel the need to do that where he himself didn't want to do it. And him as a person as well, bless him, he's also struggling mentally, as majority of people are. I'm so glad that it's something that's out there now.
I think a lot of people don't realise that creators are people.
Yeah.
They're just someone. Like, anyone that watching my stuff, they're like, of course you can do it. I'm like, I'm just a dude in a little basement room that has done this.
Yeah. Like with me, my art, I'm just a gremlin. A majority of the time when I'm drawing my art, I'm in my pajamas or my hoodies.
Exactly.
You know, like I'm sitting on the couch, legs up, nails long as shit, clawing onto it, and I'm just there.
And no matter how big the creator is, they're just a person on the other side of a camera.
Yeah. Some people let it get to their head, others stay humble, and a majority of the people that, the actual big ones now are very humble. So
what's the big thing in the last couple of years? They're calling it authentic authentication, authentic editing, I think is the name for it, but it's the style of video has gone away from these big flashes, memes every 30 seconds to more raw, here's someone's life, here's someone how they really are, because I think a lot of us got sick of that overproduced.
I don't think, because there's probably like 7 years between us age-wise anyway.
I am turning 34 next month.
So there's 10 years between us. I was being a little bit. Anyway.
I'm an old man.
But through that time, like when all that stuff happened, I was at that age where that was interesting, you know, and so I grew up and grew through all that phase with them. And so it was like that whole generation of back then with the memes and stuff. I thought that shit was funny.
You still get it a lot. Like, it's still what a lot of people call the Mr. Beast editing.
Yeah.
You know, in your face, loud, quick, cuts, constant.
15 plus.
It's a lot and gets attention from certain people, but it's hard to keep up with, especially when you're just a one-off person doing it for fun.
Because that's when you start chewing into your hours for your editing and everything like that. So, and it's better to keep it simple sometimes, but still, you know, interesting.
Well, I've done it with our games. You guys might have noticed early on at some points I was experimenting with extra scenes coming up with like pop-ups of minis every time a new enemy would come across, or whoever's turn it was, their picture would come up in a different spot. That was taking me so long.
Yeah.
Now it's, here's the 3 shots. We'll switch to a battle cam. We'll switch back to the headshot cam. Yeah. If something specific really big happens, I might make a certain one off, but generally it's like, this is what you're watching for. Yeah. We don't need a ton of stuff popping up constantly.
Especially when early on they were 4-hour-long videos that you were editing, and so I'm glad that we did the half and half as well.
Yeah, that's coming good. Now.
Not only does that make it easier for you, but it also makes it a bit easier for us as well.
Yeah, and ideally now, you guys, hopefully, from pretty much now on, will be getting weekly episodes. Yeah. Unless we have breaks or something like that, because we can split them up a bit better. And then when we have breaks like today, we've still got plenty in the bin to go up. So you guys won't have to have breaks.
Probably recording heaps more as well anyway. Because, I would like to come back and, like, maybe when we go more in depth for the potions book and everything. Or
absolutely, we will.
You know, like, that'd be something nice. We'll have Cody as well, you know, just so then that way we can go more in depth with it and get more opinions on it. And hopefully by that time we also have a dot point sort of thing what we want to do. Yeah. So
there'll be a lot more random content as we go forward as well. Yeah. So little moments, little things, we'll do a little extra bits and pieces. There'll be a video coming out soon because what you guys will see in the next, from what we've just released, so by the time this comes out, you'll probably see it. We're at the new table. Me and Cody filmed like a blog style video the day we built the table. So it'll be like a little
yeah.
20-minute video showing us building the new process.
That's right.
Just a bit of
Are you
silly
gonna do
dumb.
like the speeding, or are you doing it like? Because I
Well, we just randomly shot. So we had a couple of cameras. We'd move stuff around. We'd talk to the camera every now and again. We went to Bunnings, bought what we needed, built it. So it's just going to be the process of
you guys went to Bunnings without me.
making the plan, getting the stuff, and building it to just show our evolution a bit more fun, vloggy stuff. Any of you that are interested in seeing a bit more of us behind the scenes, but also it's really cool if anyone wants to have a decent sized table, perfect setup for filming.
Yes.
And it all folds away.
Yeah.
So
otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to sit here today.
exactly. We wouldn't have been able to put a full table down here because
yeah, no.
I need to make my other channel that actually brings in a little bit of money. But yeah, it's stuff like that we want to do a bit more of. We'll probably do one soon as well about the new audio setup with the newer mics, because we went from having a huge professional audio recording setup that just kept having problems to a very cheap, easy solution that runs through USB, and it's better.
Yeah. And hotally that will help, other
so you
people
guys
out.
can do it.
Because I'm not really like that tech savvy when it comes to equipment and stuff. Like I did some filming and that in high school, but never anything to do with mics and everything like that. So it was really interesting to see how we developed from where we started to where we are now, and just how quickly, like, even we could tell it improved. Because there's not really any bumping of the mics anymore or anything or anything like that, and there's no adjusting or pulling it towards. It's simply just clipping it on and forgetting about it.
And just the difference when someone's whispering or turning their head the wrong or right way from the mic, it's still here, so we're still getting a lot of that. The only problem is going to be all the chips we were munching on last episode. It's probably going to be a bit crunchy, so soft snacks from now on. But yeah, I'm really excited for all of these evolutions, because by the time we hit Campaign 3, we're going to have everything ironed out. Sorry, Campaign 2.
I was about to say, how far are you going?
Well, yeah, by the time we hit 3, it's going to be... hopefully by the time we hit Campaign 2, ideally I've bought a place by then, and hopefully it has a space we can play in, so we can have a permanently, like, we'll always be able to play here. Otherwise, we might be jumping around some different locations. But at least our visuals and audio should be on point. Because it is one thing, I still hate it that our episodes 6 and 7 have no visuals, because we had the corrupted footage.
But what can you do?
Exactly.
It is what it is. It was a learning curve for all of us, essentially, is just to see what works and see what doesn't. And although, like, myself and Bailey, we can't really put much of an input into that stuff because we don't really know, but we can always be there to throw cash at it if needed.
Exactly.
So that's what we're there for. We're all trying to help each other out with it.
Even like now, so saying we're so far ahead, I'm giving these guys early links so they can watch through and pick out shorts. So as someone's trying to pump out as many edits, I don't have time to scrape through and find all the perfect shorts moments. But if these guys can give me a time, I can pull that out and we can put some more content out there, because the shorts are a great way for us to grow.
Yeah. I love seeing the shorts as well.
Keep talking. This is just about to die, so...
But yeah,
yeah.
I do love the shorts. They're probably one of my favourite parts about our channel, because I can sit there and scroll through them and laugh every time.
Yeah.
I love the shorts from, I forget what they're called, like, off the top of my head, but it's the one with the clown in it. And yeah. You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll try and throw one off for a minute.
Yeah.
I love with those guys that it's just them laughing
most
of the time.
I need to actually sit down and watch them, because I just binge watch their shorts. And see, that's something that I do a lot. I'm very much I'm a TikTok user. I'll sit there and binge watch short videos.
We get a lot of that. We get way more views on our shorts, and I think a lot of our recent growth in channel is coming from shorts. People that won't even probably ever watch our full content, which, so be it. If the shorts give you entertainment, cool, we've entertained you.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. Like, for me, I do enjoy watching back on the main, like, episodes and everything like that. I loved watching through the Kids on Brooms one again, because it was so fun to play. But I mainly just use the main campaign when I rewatch them, just to refresh my memory. Because for me, it's not really anything new. But then the shorts and stuff like that, it's like, I've forgotten that we said that. And so I'm laughing at it again. And there was one time, I think Guy and I were doing a rewatch, and there was one point where something was said by someone and she said something, and then 2 seconds later in the video she said the same thing. And we were cracking up about it because we're just like, you just basically played that part the exact same as you did when you were on camera. You know, and stuff like that I really enjoy about just watching through the videos again.
Yeah. Nah, the shorts are always fun. Like, I see it with my main channel as well. I get a lot more views on shorts than I do on other stuff because it's just the way of the world. A lot of people don't want to sit through a full video, but they want to see the cool vibe of it.
They have short attention spans.
I find it hilarious in my making videos because I'll have people comment like, you haven't fully explained. I'm like, if you notice, there's a link to a 20-minute tutorial. No, I don't want to watch that. I'm like, this is the ad for the main video. Like, if you want more information and you can't figure it out from this, there's a big, it's all here.
See, 20 minutes isn't long at all. You know, like 20 to 30 minutes. Like a lot of the YouTube videos that I watch, I'm very much someone who plays a game and watches a video at the same time. It's how I consume content. Like this morning and yesterday, I was playing Genshin while watching Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Those two don't go together, but I enjoyed it. It was great. Or, you know, sometimes I'll play Cyberpunk and I'll watch an anime.
Well, I think the average view, like the average amount of time a person puts into a video on YouTube in the long form stuff is 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So they'll spread out. So some they'll watch for half an hour, some they'll only watch for 1 minute. But I think 7 minutes and 20 seconds is the average time across the board that people watch videos.
Yeah. Yeah. Because nowadays, everyone wants it now.
Yeah.
Now. And so with TikTok and Shorts on YouTube and Instagram, it's consumer friendly. It's very short and sweet, and they can just sit there and scroll through, like it, and keep scrolling, you know, and there's no thought process behind it. It's just brain numbing.
Well, I have the thing right now. So what you see in front here, these little farm things,
Pumpkins.
is what I've been working on at the moment. And my question for myself is, do I make the video of how to make all these different style veggie patches, or do I do a video for each one? Because I could have 5 6-minute videos or one 25-minute video. I'm like, what will get the most? But then I'm like, do I want to be thinking about what gets attention, or do I want to think of what I want to make?
And think about what makes it easier for you as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of thought that has to go into things now.
Yeah.
Since we're on this table, there is a new section we started last week. And as a non-DM, this is going to be interesting for you. We're calling it 5-minute DM. You have to take what I've laid out on the table here, and in 5 minutes, as quick as you want or as short as you want, but you've got a 5-minute counter to give us a explanation as a DM, or a story arc, or a prompt, or an adventure based on this.
Jesus Christ.
So it can be anything, whatever comes to your mind, but seeing what's in front of you here, what kind of prompt would you give to the players? Can you come up with a story for this in 5 minutes?
I think I can. Okay. So you walk up to the town square and you see the variety of creatures, houses, and languages. As you walk through, the amount of flowers are decorated everywhere. There's some signs and some flags hanging between the roofs of the buildings. And when you walk through, in the middle of the square is a statue. And in that statue, there are flowers and moss all throughout it. And while you're walking around, several people are singing and dancing, selling things, trying to shout and get your attention. What do you do?
Easy. That was a minute.
There you go. Because when I initially got that, even though some of the minis look like they're fighting and stuff like that,
Don't have to take it that way.
Yeah, you don't have to. With the vibe that I was getting, I just got a town square, a festival, something where people were colluding together to create something nice. And I think that's where my brain goes a lot of the time, where maybe some other people, you'd be in the middle of a fight, you know, swords are swinging, you know, clashing of metal between metal. But when I saw that, just the amount of greenery and flowers, yes, if it was a different sort of vibe.
So that's what we're going to do. Whenever we have a different guest, I'm going to rearrange, like change what we've got down here and see what their brain goes to. So with Cody last week, I had a whole heap of random shit, basically.
Yeah.
And he came up with this like cross-dimensional, like a portal port, basically, where like all these different things from different dimensions, where all the dimensions cross over. It's like a port town with all this stuff. I'm like,
see, that's cool. Like, as someone who's not a DM,
it's gonna
it's going to take a lot more to sit there and think about it. But I think it's just saying fuck it and going with it.
Exactly.
You know, like this dude here, I imagined like, you know, in festivals and stuff like that, where they do like, how can you lift up this rock, you know, and sort of thing. And it'd be basically this guy here, or like, oh shit, he's going to lift it and win all the money, you know. And it's kind of like that is what I got from it.
See, that's what I like about it. So that's what we kind of want to do with this, is show that there's different ways to approach all this.
Yeah.
So literally, I intentionally set this out that you could take different groups who are attacking or fighting, or a big market live or something. And that's the fun of these games. There's no wrong answers.
Yeah, no, it's all from here.
Yeah.
All from the head.
But it's gonna, as someone who's never run a game, it's very hard to be thrown into that, especially when you had no idea that was coming.
Yeah, I know. I had no idea. But I thought, you know what, stuff it. And I think for me, with that, like, there was a part of me that was going to be like, no, no, don't do this to me, Seb, don't do this to me. But it's the other part as well, like, you're my friend. I'm comfortable in your presence. We're fine with talking and all that sort of shit. And I can embarrass myself in front of you because it's either going to be funny or I'm just going to overthink it.
Yeah.
And if I overthink it, that's my problem.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the part of D&D. Don't overthink that shit.
No.
There's nothing wrong with just having a go.
We've said it before, if people at your table don't work with that sort of stuff, it's either you're not at the right table or they're not at the right table. Like, you want to find the people that you can just loose with.
We're very lucky to have the group that we have now, even with Georgia in.
Yeah.
You know, like, she brings another aspect into the group as well. And it was actually really nice. We went out with Bailey and Sky and Steve as well, and we went out to have brunch together, you know, last Monday. And it was great, you know, because we hadn't seen her outside. Well, I hadn't seen her outside of the table before, where Bailey has, because he works close to where she studies, you know, and having that relationship outside of the table too makes being at the table more comfortable.
Yeah, it's why I like having these chat days too, getting the guys on the table down, having them, or even we did the first lore video, which is up on the channel with George the other week, so we all hung out for the day just away from the game, because we've mentioned before, the first year playing, I only ever really knew everyone as their characters. Yeah. Which worked fine, but when you do get to know people outside of the table more, it can help you loosen up at the table.
Which is why, like, when I had my birthday party last year, I said to Bailey, I was just like, I want to invite Seb and Cody. And Bailey's just like, oh, so you're just going to have like the D&D group over for dinner? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay, you know, that'd be nice. Great. And I was just like, well, it's another excuse to get to know them outside of the table. Because we've got like 10 minutes before we start recording that we talk, and then the 20 minutes, 25 minutes break in between. Yep. And then outside, however long we feel like, until we're too tired to keep talking, you know. And in that time, we're always talking about the table. Yes. We're not really talking about life. We're not talking about each other. We're just talking about our characters. And so having that outside of it, which a lot of other groups are probably different to us, where we just all were squished together, just met, and we're like, let's keep going, you know. So they probably already have that pre-friendship and stuff, but it's good to have it outside of the table too. So
Great way to make friends.
yeah, it's a great way to bring like real people in too, is make friends with people that are like, I've always wanted to play D&D but never have. Well,
I have a few mates I want to pull in for some one-shots.
yeah,
I feel like if we pull people into the main campaign, we kind of want them to know how they're playing a game.
yes,
Just because it's a pretty heavy role-play situation. But one-shots can be a lot goofier, a lot more
yeah, a lot
silly
relaxed,
and ridiculous. Like, it doesn't matter if the rules get broken. Like, as a DM running a campaign versus running one-shots, I'm so much laxer with the rules during a one-shot because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, with the Feywild short. Is it cocked with Bailey?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 2 friends that want to play, but unfortunately they're over in America. So they won't be able to come to the table. But
Well, I think Cody's thinking about doing some more of
the Christmas
the Discord
one-shot,
ones.
yeah. I think that'd be nice. I might
I know George's brother wants to play in one of those as well, so there was talk of getting another batch of those. So
because that's another thing too, is like us as the cast, we don't really have to be in it. It can just be for the Discord as well, you know. And I think that'd be something that's nice. But I think both of the people that both of my friends over in America would probably want me to be in there
absolutely.
with them, so they have someone there that they know, so then they don't feel as embarrassed. Which I get that. I'm also.
It's definitely a comfort thing. Like having someone you know at the table definitely changes things up.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been so hard for you. I'm so sorry, brother.
Oh, well, I don't know, because I'd gotten to know Cody pretty well beforehand, at least. So, like, we'd done my one-shot, but we'd done a few days where we'd hang out and make stuff, and we'd been talking online for ages about the channel and things. So, so I didn't feel... I was pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I think after someone who's, again, been on camera for years and stuff, like, I didn't have the discomfort of cameras in the room that you guys all would have had to deal with that first time, so...
It was very wild to me because when you first joined the table, I didn't know that you weren't Cody's friend until like
2 or 3 months earlier.
I thought you were his friend for a lot longer than that. And then I found out, I think it was like maybe half a year to a year into us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I found out that you guys were only friends for a couple months before he dragged you into it.
So we only met because he asked me about... He commented on one of my videos saying, how would you approach this build? Because I want to build it. So I started sort of talking to him in Messenger, not just through the comments. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm running this podcast. Like, we love your stuff. I want to make a carousel. And at the time I was building out the Wild Carnival from Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And there was a carousel on that. I'm like, well, how about I build one? And you can follow the tutorial, but I also said, I'm like, but you can also, if, like, when I realized how close you lived, I'm like, if you want, you can come grab it, and you can use that in your game. Because we realized, we're only like 45, 50 minutes away from each other. So then we had a few where he came down, and he's been on a few of my Seb Make Stuff videos where we made content, like we just made bigger crafts. We've done days where we just make stuff that hasn't even made it to the channel because for one reason or another, we just got distracted and didn't film or something. So we only met for a few months before he was like, well, I'm running a new campaign soon. Do you want to do it? And I was like, So we're reading the podcast. I'm like, well, do you want to do it with video since I've got all this gear?
Yeah, Cody's crazy with just pulling people in. Because it was the same with me. I'd only met him for a couple of months before I started playing. Only because I was a part of the Dungeons and Nerdettes that Sky was doing, which was the Stranger Things campaign.
Okay. And you guys would have seen them all play in the one shot that we had on the channel?
Yeah. So, it was crazy because I actually remember I actually got a message from Sky because Sky and Cody are cousins and everything like that. And she was playing Odam before we started playing this one. And so she basically messaged me and asked if I wanted to be a part of a campaign. And I just basically asked, I was like, is there, like, what sort of vibe is it? And this guy's like, Cody's thinking of going horror. And I was like, yeah, but I love horror. I love anything horror. And then she was like, are you okay with being filmed? And then I was this close to actually not being a part of it because of the cameras. But I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm there with Sky. I'm there with Bailey. I'll just ignore the cameras. I'll be fine. And I'm so glad that I just went for it.
Right.
Yeah. Because if I just made that other decision that I was thinking of making, I wouldn't be here today.
The cameras can be a big thing. Like, I know George's first time playing at the table was the Airships game.
Yeah.
And Cody forgot to mention that there'd be cameras at that game.
Oh, yeah.
And at first, I think she was saying she was a bit like, I don't know, but kind of came around to it. Bailey, same thing that day. He didn't realize we would be filming. Yeah. And was like, oh, shit, I would have dressed better.
Yeah.
But it's some things like that. It's like, it can be a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, I even go back to some of my first videos and I'm very, like, awkward and quiet on camera. But now I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
I can put out a camera presence, you know?
Yeah, it's like that with, like, a lot of people. Like, some of the old videos of PewDiePie.
Everyone.
You know, like, where he started to where he is now. Yeah, it's crazy. As
someone whose job is videoing people, 95% of people aren't comfortable on camera to start with.
Yep.
I was talking to a mate of mine recently because he has his job, he runs a YouTube channel and he's slowly gotten very good at it over time. But he wants to go out and like interview people about stuff he's doing. I'm like, really cool if you can find the right people. He's like, what do you mean? They'll know what they're talking about. I'm like, yeah, but people, like their brain switches off when the red light starts flashing.
Yeah. If someone came up to me, like in those videos that you see on like Facebook or whatever, where someone goes up to someone and is like, what are you listening to? I'd be that person that's just like, you know, go away. I'm listening to music.
Yeah. It's,
you know, and it's just like, it's hard because you see all those videos and you see how people like just do that and people respond. But if you were to do that, you probably wouldn't get the same response that that person got because they might be paid actors.
I was going to say, there's several things with that style of videos called Vox Pop.
Yeah.
They're probably filming for 3 days to get 4 usable shots because people are either too confident and they're assholes, they're set up, or they're just going to say, piss off, or they're going to just not talk properly. They're not going to be able to speak well on camera. And that's fine. That's most people. I think more people are getting used to it because we're in a world where everyone points cameras everywhere.
Yep.
But no, it's funny because like recently I took all my old tapes because I've been holding video cameras since I was 15 and skateboarding. You know, I always loved it. And we've pulled out all old family videos, but amongst them I found a whole heap of videos of me and my mates when we were like 15, 16. So, you know, 17, 18 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I just went to my mate's Bucks party on the weekend and he was talking about like, because I was sending out the clips, he's like, how good is it that we've got those?
Yeah.
But when I go back in time and think about being the one behind the camera, so often the guys are like, don't film me.
Yeah.
Or they'd stop what they're doing because they're being filmed and they got all awkward. But it's like when you can look back and you're like, oh, having those is actually great. Like,
whereas now it's just, you've got them.
Everyone does. Yeah.
You've just got them because it's just a click of a button, you know, and it's good that in some aspects, you know, it's good for memories and everything like that. But at the same time, for some parts of it as well, is like when you film strangers and stuff. Like nowadays, it's such a thing where if you film someone without their consent, you know, it's not good. It's bad. So you've got to constantly ask people. Where back then, no one cared.
Well, it also depends. So there were different rules at certain times. Like Queensland, I think, still is one of the only places in Australia that has what's called third-party consent. So you can film someone in public without their consent.
Yeah.
So if you're in public, people are allowed to film you and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
It's a bit fucked up. But I think Queensland keeps it in place because there's so many films that are shot on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And if someone's just walking through the back of a professional film set and then decides later on to complain about it.
It's like they've got to give them money.
Yeah. So like as a professional videographer, my whole thing is we always just print out signs saying there's filming taking place here today. If you're coming into this location or if you're going to be around here, you need to be aware that your footage of you could be used.
Yeah.
And we're always very respectful. If someone comes up and says, I don't want to be on camera, like I really don't, I'll be like, cool, can I just take a photo of you with this? So when I'm editing, I can refer back to that and make sure you're not in any shots.
Yeah.
None of it will ever go public, that sort of thing. Like you try and be respectful of it, but technically we're allowed to do whatever we want in Queensland. It's very, very loose
different.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think in the States it's similar. Certain states have it, and they're probably the ones that have more production of movies and things because it almost needs to be there for the industry to survive.
Yeah, especially with extras, paid extras and everything like that. Because that's very much something if, you're filming a movie and then some random walks in the background and then they're like, hey, I was a part of this movie, shouldn't have I gotten paid for it?
Or you're not allowed to
And then they
use
feel like
that.
they're
It's
entitled to it. And so it's either they have to pay them to shut them up or they have to pay them because they're in it.
Whereas, in Queensland, there's a lot less of those rules.
Yeah.
They just put up a sign saying, this area is being filmed. If someone chooses to walk through there,
yeah, a bit of bad luck. Mate.
Yeah, you might be in the background of the movie.
Yeah. Too bad. So sad. Oh, yeah.
But no, we're in a very different world of that now, but it's still absolutely understandable why a lot of people aren't comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
It is scary because, looking at it, it's just a lens. But then you start overthinking and you start thinking like, hey, there's someone else on the other end of that that's currently watching what I'm saying right now and is absorbing that information and is either going to like it or hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're either going to like it because they enjoy what I'm saying or they're going to hate it because they don't like what I'm saying.
That comes into what I was saying earlier, is I would rather slowly gain fans that vibe with us, because I now feel more and more like when I'm like this camera here, this is my mate, this is my other mate, this is another mate. Like it's people that do care. Like I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to the camera. I feel like that now. But yeah, absolutely. You've still got to be very careful. I'm
definitely on par with you there. Like I feel more like, I'm actually talking to my friends.
Yeah.
I'm talking to people that enjoy the same stuff as me. And hopefully with what I say, they can get something from it.
Yeah.
They can, take something away from what was said today, whether it be the media or whatever.
Anything.
I don't even, Baldur's Gate. Like it's nice to be comfortable with it. It does take a while. It's been over a year, I think.
2?
No, because we started
close
around
to 2.
We started around May, I think it was. No, April, May, like March, April, May.
I have to go back. It's been a while.
Yeah, because I think it started around that time because just after we started was Sky's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's starting to click back together. Because I thought it was before Christmas, but it was just a little bit after Christmas.
It was like at the start of last year that we started. And then because we went all the way through and around I think April. And around April this year was our first year. And we're almost at our second year because we're now in September.
It's wild.
It's gone.
I think I mentioned it a while ago. Technically, we're in the top 5% of podcasters just because we've lasted more than a year.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Like, technically, our numbers aren't at all.
Yeah,
but
no.
apparently, 95% of podcasts don't make it through a year because a lot of people, if they're not seeing their numbers shoot up and they're like, I'm not making a fortune, they're like, why am I doing this? Or again, we're doing this because we love doing it.
Yeah, a lot of those.
My job is videography. So for me, a lot of this is practice for other things too.
Yeah.
So, like, doing these podcasts now, my job has been recently talking about doing podcasts. And we got a quote from an external company that wanted insane, like, for 12 10-minute podcast clips, they wanted $60,000. And they go, does anyone know anything about podcasts? I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. So now I'm like the go-to, and they sent me all the quotes. I'm like, no, don't do that. I'm like, if you want, through the company, I'm like, give me 10 grand to buy equipment and we can do this all in-house forever, as many as we want. Like, it's a skill now that I have, and I can put this on a resume, But I've been producing a YouTube channel for almost 3 years and a podcast channel for close to 2 years.
Yeah.
Like,
just another thing to add to your belt.
Yeah.
For future reference. Yeah, because I can't add this. I could probably add it to a resume, but like you tweak it. Because I've actually heard someone say that you can add being a DM
I've seen
to your resume.
Yeah.
Which is very funny and also very true because then if you essentially you wanted to put being a player on your resume, team worker is one of the main things.
Problem solving, working with a team.
Worker,
Yeah.
We won't get to that, but working in a team, working together with other people and, all that sort of stuff.
But even being a part of our wider crew, you are a part of a creative collaborative group, whether it's art, social media, running, creating content, creating a story,
Talking shit.
you're a part of that wider group.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
the ability, though, to be able to sit in front of a camera is very, very handy.
I'm actually, being completely honest, am very proud of myself because, like I said, when I arrived today, I was like, I kind of a little bit felt like I was doing like an assessment and standing in front of, like, it reminded me of being at school, standing in front of people and doing a presentation.
Yep.
But I didn't get the anxiety that I did when I was back then. And I was like, that's crazy to think that I still had that PTSD is what I'm going to call it. Because
I get it.
it was.
I couldn't stand in front of the class without
God,
shaking.
no. The first time that I was actually able to confidently stand in front of a group of people when I was at TAFE.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I was doing something I love.
Yes. It makes a big difference.
Same thing as now.
Mhm.
I love yapping. I love talking about things that I enjoy. I love talking about people or talking to people that also enjoy that same thing that I like.
I think it's also a big thing. Having a conversation
Yes.
is much easier than like script camera.
Yes.
Like, I know that would have been really hard for Georgia the other week, coming in and doing our
She did
so
great,
far.
though.
Down the line, from memory, brilliant job.
I loved the dog is red.
Yeah. Just the little
That
peers
was
off.
my favourite. She did so well in that, though. I'm very, very proud of her because yeah, she's just a lovely girl, and I think she also understands the anxiety part of being on camera as well, especially with only being on camera for a short amount of time. Like the first one was the airship, and now with where she is now, so which by now I think should be on the main episode, should be released where she's at.
Next, by the time this comes out,
Yes.
yes. So next week for us, next weekend will be her first episode where she comes in halfway through.
Oh.
So you guys will be getting private links for that this week to be able to
Yes,
go
I
through.
will be, because I very, very lucky. I got yesterday, today, and tomorrow off.
Oh,
3 days
beautiful.
off, in preparation of when I have my annual leave, because I'll be working 5 days straight. So, but I'll be definitely binge watching all that stuff as soon as you give it to me. Because when we go,
So
away,
18 and 19 have just gone up on YouTube. So they're private now. They'll be scheduled to come out for everyone else. But you guys will be getting the private links for those, so we can watch them in advance.
I'll be binging that stuff tonight.
And make sure there's
tomorrow.
nothing that needs to be cut out.
Oops.
There's been a couple of little things here and there, but
Yeah, we can get a little bit unhinged with each other.
99% of it we let through. Most of what I cut out generally is audio fuck-ups.
Yep.
So in the last few, because we're trying to really get on top of that popping before we change mics, is there's large sections where we stop the game to try and get it going, so they just get cropped
They
out.
just
But
get
there's a good
cut.
chance some of those have been left in, so we do a lot of that. But yeah, it's going full steam ahead.
God, I got to start doing more of those drawings too.
Well, we'll hopefully, by the time this comes out, we'll hopefully have our new intro sequence up and running.
Yep. Oh yeah. God damn.
Yep. Which is fun,
Yeah.
because this is something I've been wanting to work on for a while, and I finally pulled my thumb out and actually did it. And we'll be ideally using the same concept for the second campaign. So we can reshoot things and change our background stuff as we go, but the concept and build is there now, and I can just swap things in and out as we need them.
Because that's the thing too. Like, no, because we're all different characters and everything like that, so it'd be slightly different. But with some people, we could probably still keep their movement and their recording.
Yeah,
and
but
just change
even as campaign goes on, we can change those out. If we think something,
That's true, yeah.
you know, about the characters changed and someone wants to redo their headshot, we can. Or if someone changes their style completely and wants a different shot,
makeover.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I'm really excited to see how that goes, because it looked really cool when you first did it. And, like, obviously me being me, I'm like, I hate it because I hate mine. Just because long story short, I wanted a hood, and we decided to use the blanket that I'm currently sitting on, and you can fucking tell it's a blanket. And that little
If
part
anyone has a hood, though, we can reshoot that.
I know, like
anytime.
I have one. I think I've got one. I'm gonna steal Bailey. You know that big black one that
bring,
he's got.
Bring it down next game,
Yeah.
and honestly, the next shoot will probably be before those go up anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to put those up when we change to the new mics, not when we change to here.
Yeah.
Because when we first changed to here, there were a couple other weird video bugs. But so from those episodes is kind of the next arc of quality.
Of quality, yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm wanting to go and add those in. So it'll be a little while. We've got a bit of time to reshoot those.
Yeah, I'll steal Bailey's hood because I actually think it's called the Rogue hood
perfect.
as well. So it's,
And hopefully by then we've got that little knife as well.
Yeah. If not, I can just grab like a butcher knife from the kitchen or something like that and just stab people with it.
But yeah, the stuff like that's been fun to do.
Yeah.
I'm very keen to hit season 2 running with like art straight away, opening sequence straight away. And the fun for season or campaign 2 will be having a very basic things in the background of their characters, but as the campaign evolves, we can change what's behind them, so it builds onto their character.
Yeah. I think I've put more thought into my campaign 2 character than I did with Zeph because I wanted most of Zeph to be a surprise through Cody because, with his world and everything like that, and being the introduction of the world and stuff too. So we'll see how that goes.
New continent.
Yeah, new continent, new people.
I've pulled my backstory way back for campaign 2 compared to what I have for Hugo. Hugo was so dark and built up, and playing through it has been so heavy. I'm like, I kind of just want something a bit more chill next time.
You know what's funny? I went in with that headspace as well. I was like, I just want something more chill, more fluffy, because I was like, the parents and everything like that. Like, I usually don't make characters with parents because it's too much of whatever. But with having Zeph having parents, it was like, okay, I can do this again. And so I went down that route, and then I was going to have it be all light and fluffy, but then I was just like, there's no essence there. And so, unfortunately, my brain went the dark route, and now there's some little spice in there.
Yeah, honestly, Cody's dragged it out of me too.
Yeah.
First I was like, he's just kind of going to be a big dumb idiot.
He's just going to be a guy.
And he's just going to be out there to prove he's strong and all this, but then it suddenly becomes this, well, maybe he's proving he's strong because he's really unconfident about it. I'm like, God damn it, now there's this deep emotive going.
Yeah, and then for my character, it's just like, he's got friends and everything like that. But that friend, though, that friend, the best friend, the friend of them all, not so good, mate.
No, I'll be very interested to see where our campaign 2 goes, because we all now know how we all play together and how Cody runs his games. So obviously we're going to be making changes to our characters based on how the world, how everything clicks.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. I don't want this one to end, but I want campaign 2 to hurry up.
Well, that's exactly how I feel about Hugo right now. I don't want him to go away, but if things work out in the way that works out, but we can always come back to him.
Yeah.
We can always do more one-shots or extra stories.
He's not gone.
That's it. More stories can come out with these characters as we go, and we can always go back to them.
We can always do one-shots or bring him back in campaign 2.
Yeah.
It is only a 30-year time skip that Cody gave me, because I was like, I need to know. So it's only 30 years.
Yeah, technically all the players, because even the species we've chosen that have shorter lifespans are all young.
Yes.
So they will be older, but they'll still be around.
Because Zeph is only 26, so they'll be about 56 by that time. So interesting to know that everyone should still be alive by that time. We don't know what's going to happen between.
Well, that's it. We could be dead next week.
Yeah.
We almost died last week.
Now I have to do another character.
We got so close to a TPK last week.
Oh,
First round of combat, both of the clerics almost gone down.
Oh, I was so scared for my life. God.
I was both worried, but I was also just like, it would be a poetic place for Hugo to go.
It'd be kind of like irony for Zeph and Zero, though, like outside of the city.
Yeah.
Both of them were scared. And it's just like,
Oh, we've had that big change for Zero now going forward too.
Oh, yeah. I've got plans, even though she's not my character, but Sky and I have talked about it. And we actually had this plan way back when. I think it was might have actually been like 7 or 8 months ago that we were talking about it. And so we've got a plan for how we're going to do all of that stuff in the future. Oh, it's so exciting.
I absolutely love this game. It's been awesome as part of this table. Like, meeting everyone and just it merging in so well.
Yeah.
And now that it's becoming more... Like, originally we were just putting the podcast up because it was something fun to put up. Now it's really becoming something we're looking at, like, how can we make this a thing?
Yeah, how can we improve on it?
Yeah.
You know, how can we add to it and make a community out of it? Because the community already exists, but you get the individual community.
Yeah, and there isn't a huge D&D community in Australia.
Yeah.
Which is one thing that we're trying to really pull in. Obviously, you're welcome from anywhere in the world, but particularly like others within Australia. I've said it multiple times before. If anyone's ever on the Gold Coast or, you know, the Southeast Queensland region, reach out. If you're in this game space, come sit down and have an episode. Like, talk some gaming with us.
I'll draw your character's art.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
If you want to become a part, like, not just the online community, but if you're actually near enough that
you want to be a part of it,
by all means, we want to grow this.
We're always looking for people to join in and be, you know, guest features to the main campaign.
Like, without that kind of reach out, I wouldn't have been a part of this. Cody reached out because he saw my channel.
Yeah.
And now we're like best mates.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Don't be scared to message people that not only do you admire or watch their content, because they're just people too. You know, like,
I love it.
Yeah.
When someone sends me their version of one of my builds,
it's great. Yeah.
It's amazing. They're the moments, like, I go from, you know, starting to be a bit like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm, you know, I don't have the time for this. There's probably other ways I could probably make more money with this time, that, you know, because I'm trying to buy the house or get the equipment or something. Like, there's probably better ways I could go and do wedding videos or stuff. But then someone does something like that, and I'm like, oh wow, I've inspired someone to do something. I'm back. I'm back in.
Yeah, it's a good feeling when you can help someone else find joy in what you do, and also create a new hobby for them to do as well. So it's very good, because I wouldn't be friends with most of the people online if I didn't talk.
Exactly.
You know, if I didn't message them first or anything like that. Like, I have a best friend who lives over in Washington, D.C. They are the love of my life, my bestie.
Yeah.
And I would not be friends with them if we did not decide, hey, we just started talking in the comments, why don't we DM each other?
Yeah.
And then it spiraled from there, you know, and it's crazy how you can meet people like that online and stuff. And even if they might not be in the same region as you or the same area, they are still someone that you can access daily.
Yes.
And that's what I enjoy about it.
It's finding like-minded people. We're in a world of the internet now. You might not always find the people around you, but you can find them online.
Yes.
Like, be very careful finding people online.
Yes.
But as we mentioned, you know, if you want to come on the channel, great. If it's something that's outside your comfort zone, fine. Jump on the Discord, have a chat with us and other people that are in this space on there. Comments, I reply to every single comment on YouTube.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I love when people give their opinion on stuff like that, because that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Is let us know what you think about it, because my perspective is going to be different to yours or yours. And I like to understand everyone's perspective as much as I can, you know, different angles on things and like how you would interpret things. You know, like how I would interpret how to run a Discord channel would be completely different to the person next to me.
It's why, like, we welcome comments, guys, like questions, your opinions and this stuff. We want it to become a back and forth conversation, because obviously there's nuance in all this and we don't know everything.
Yeah.
You know, we're only limited by our experience or what we've seen. So please share your stuff with us. Questions, comments, any of that. If you want to have feedback, if you guys want to be a part of any of these, even if, like, we can talk to you about jumping on a Discord at some point or a Zoom and recording some stuff if you ever want to actually be on the channel. Otherwise, just within the chats, we want to have the conversations because it helps us learn. We've said it about, like, the big one for me and Cody was he made some pretty divisive comments about some Warhammer stuff not long ago.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of hate in there. But we also got a lot of people that disagreed with us properly.
Yeah.
So-
Disagreed, but informed.
Yeah. So,
As
like, they're
well.
like, what you guys are saying just isn't right, but here's why. And we learned a lot more about that circumstance than we knew before because we're just talking nonsense here. Like, that was just a random tangent we'd gone on. And we only knew what we saw from outside of that community online. Actual people in the community sharing with us actually completely 180 my opinion on the situation.
Yeah.
But not for the reasons, you know, like, but then the people that just came in and were just insulting Cody's sexuality because of the hat he was wearing and
Yeah.
stuff. It's like, you're not
See,
changing any minds. Like-
that's not how to approach someone's opinion
No.
about something. You don't undermine them because then it makes you look lesser.
Yeah, and we're just not going to pay attention to what you have to say then. Even if you had a really good point, you're not going to be heard.
Yeah, no.
But also, if you want to give us hate in the comments, it's all engagement. So,
Hate all you want because at the end of the day, we're still doing what we're doing.
yeah, nothing's going to change
We're
that.
doing it for us and we're doing it for our enjoyment. And because I want to see where everyone goes at the end of this campaign because it's going to probably be absolutely insane. And I reckon there will be one death. I have a feeling there will be one.
Yeah.
And I think I already know.
I think there's going to be some death. I think
Yeah.
there's going to be some death, not just one death.
Yeah, and it's not just going to be our enemies.
No. Because Cody's playing hardball now.
Oh, yeah, after that last episode. Oh, God.
Part of the reason I want Hugo to leave the party, I'm like, he can stay safe. He can stay over here and be safe.
I can't do that. I can't do that. Not yet. It's not time. Oh, that's going to be terrible, especially with what I just subclassed into as well.
Ooh. We'll talk about this off camera.
Yeah, we will.
But I think we've talked for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the longest above the table. I might even cut these into 2 if I can find a good place for it. Otherwise, you guys are getting an extra long one.
Whoops.
But the first appearance of Mon.
I said I could yap, and I yapped.
This is what I think me and Skies went for fucking ages too. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But today we had less. Like, usually we make a subjects thing and we kind of follow through it and have a plan. Today we just wanted to talk because we haven't had Mon on the channel yet. Well, on the channel, on above the table
On
yet.
above the table, yeah.
And we really needed to finish off that group.
Yeah, the last little piece that was
Yeah.
missing.
Because I needed to get a screenshot of your head for the
Yeah.
social media posts as well. So,
So,
thanks for sticking around for the long episode or 2, depending on how I approach this later. If anyone has any questions, comments, any of that, in the comments below on the Discord, I'll reply to everything below. If there's anything directed at Mon, I'll get her input to throw in the comments below.
or I could just respond.
Yeah,
I've got my own YouTube channel that has nothing posted on it, but I can still comment on shit.
or if you jump now, Mon's running the Twitter or X account a bit
Twitter.
more.
It's never going to be called
So if you have any comments, questions through there, jump over to that. We'll put all the links again there. They're all in the link tree in the description.
Yes.
So you can jump over there to find them. I don't know which way I need to point for that. But yeah, you're welcome to send out anything. We do our best to respond to everything. I even respond to the hate because it makes you guys comment again and engagement goes up.
We do have a actual a questions channel in our Discord as well. So if you wanted to go in there or just in the general, or you could DM me either on Discord or on one of my art
We're
accounts.
very open to communication.
I need friends.
But we hope you guys have enjoyed the nonsense today. We'll have to get Mon back on, especially if you guys have more comments below so we can round them all up specifically for you.
If you want me to just rant about video games, Baldur's Gate, happy to do that as well.
We're good at that.
Yeah.
And I think we've hit some good wide range of topics today. It's been awesome getting you on the table.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, guys, cut to black.